Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
I am fucking nervous.
Why? For real?
Yeah.
Why?
It's a good thing. I haven't left my fucking house in a year.
You've been
except
totally
for-
locked up.
Well, I mean, I go to the grocery store.
How did you avoid getting it? You didn't get it at all, right?
No.
The cooties?
No, because
Nothing.
everyone I know is a shut-in too, and I fucking loved it. It's like I left a day after my year anniversary. Like I packed a week before coming here.
So all you've done is go to the food store.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I went up to Phoenix for New Year's to see. It's a long story. To see a dog that I almost kept, but I gave away. Anyway, so yes, basically, no, I have not left fucking Bisbee, Arizona in a year.
Wow.
And I didn't think it affected me until I left. It's like if you stayed in bed for a year going, I don't need to walk. I know how to walk. And then after a year, you're like, fuck my legs. I'm atrophied.
What feels the weirdest?
Well, just figuring out how to pack for the road. I packed everything. I drove, and I left Sunday to be here Wednesday. It's a 13-hour drive. I could have done it in one shot. But I was so excited. I'm going to leave on Sunday and just take the back roads. And like I practiced talking on the phone before I came here. An hour and a half before, I'm just calling people. Like I don't talk to anyone on the phone. The only time I use the phone is to figure out where to meet you to talk. I don't socialize on the phone. You
Right.
and I talk maybe twice a year tops. And when I see it's you, I go, do I have an hour? Okay, I'll make an hour because we don't. But otherwise, so I was like, I haven't talked to people other than, do you have a room available for 3 days,
Right.
3.5 days? So I was calling, Bingo and Brian Hennigan, going, just talk to me. Like, I packed what I thought was a carload of shit. I forgot vodka, which is my go-to drink, and a shirt. I only had the T-shirt that I was wearing that after 3 days started to stink, and I went, fuck, I didn't pack another shirt.
Did you go shirt shopping then?
Yeah, I went to the thrift store.
Oh, thrift store.
Yeah,
Of course.
yes. You notice I brought 2 different suits, like goofy suits.
Right.
And I'm like, I've been wearing pajamas for a year. I think I would be even more awkward if I was wearing a suit, especially with stupid hair.
When did the goofy suits become a thing with you? Like what year do you think that?
1989, it started in telemarketing because my mother would send me goofy suits like that because they had just gone out of style, like in that decade.
Mm-hmm.
So they're, fucking, it's like buying acid wash jeans now. Yeah, they're a fucking nickel a pair at the thrift store.
I think Jamie has a few pairs. You have any of those?
Acid wash sweatpants.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sweatpants. Yeah, but that's your signature shit now, the goofy suit.
Yeah, and I go, I don't think I'm ready to put on a goofy suit. I don't know if it would clash with the goofy hair. Because people will show up at my shows in goofy suits,
Oh,
but
no.
they'll have like plaid on plaid, and you go, no, that doesn't work. Like I accessorize perfectly in a goofy suit, but I go, I have the goofy hair now. Is that like polka dots on plaid? I don't know.
Right, have you gone too far?
Yeah, I want to be comfortable here, so I'm wearing pajamas like I have for the last year.
Why don't you just wear pajamas?
That's what I'm wearing. Pajama pants.
Are those pajama pants?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
And this was my old travel shirt. I wore this anytime I traveled. I'm like, yeah, I want to be comfortable. I don't want to fucking.
You've stayed
worry
within
about
your
my tie
means
clip.
very well. Like you've never had to worry about finances. Like you dialed that in early.
Yeah.
You never fell into the trap a lot of people do, where they like buy a bigger house or buy a bigger car or this or that.
My shit's paid for. After a year of not working, I go, ooh, I always bragged about how much fucking I don't need to work. And then I go, all right, now I'm starting to worry. Should I buy this dumb plastic shit from Amazon or not?
When do you think you're going to start working again? Are you going to get the vaccine?
I got my first shot.
Which one, the Pfizer or the Moderna?
No, Moderna. I got my first shot. About 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago tomorrow.
Why is it funny?
Because I just realized I still have the fucking Band-Aid when I took a bath last night. I'm such a fucking slothful pig when it comes to bathing.
That's hilarious.
And it's still there. I didn't wash that hard that it came off even last night.
They're resilient, those Band-Aids.
Mm-hmm.
They'll stick around for a while.
Well, I'm going to get my follow-up shot 2 weeks from now
And they'll just
from
peel
the
that
same
off?
lady, and I want her to see the same dirty bandage and make her pick it off. I know that's rude, but I think it's funny.
So you getting the shots in Bisbee? Is it hard to get it? Or do they have a good supply?
Yeah, well, it just... I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I probably
don't say
cut a
anything,
line.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But yesterday, Cochise County tweeted, okay, now 18 and up. And I go, yeah, that's great you tweeted that, but maybe 9 people in all of Cochise County are on Twitter. You got to go door to door to fucking alert these people.
The UFC contacted me. They have a large supply of Johnson & Johnson vaccines. That's the one you only take one shot. It's different. It's not an mRNA vaccine. It's a different vaccine. What is it called? An adenovirus? Is that what it's called? Do you know what it's called? Some sort of different shot. But they want to give it to me this weekend.
Oh, so you haven't had your first yet?
No.
All right. I don't know your... You know, I hear about you.
Oh.
You
hear about
I
me.
think he's an anti-masker. Well, maybe he's an anti-vax.
No, I'm neither anti-mask or anti-vax. I'm neither one of those things. But I'm not worried about the virus. Everyone that I know that got it, they were sick for like a day. My whole family got it, and I didn't get it. But I'm on so much shit between vitamins and testosterone, and I'm in the fucking sauna every day. Like, what does this say? Unlike the mRNA virus from Pfizer Moderna, which deliver a fat-covered bits of genetic material into your cells, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine uses a shell of a virus to carry genetic material into your cells. Says Gandhi.
Well,
Gandhi's the guy?
That's the doctor.
How weird. Change your name, bro. You know, that's like Dr. Hitler. You know what I mean? Like, maybe time for a fucking name change.
Well, maybe he's changed his name up. Like, oh,
Right.
I was Dr. Hitler. I should change it to something more easily consumable.
He became Gandhi. The shell is an adenovirus, which normally causes colds, but it has been modified so it no longer replicate and make you sick.
All right, you don't need to read all that. We'll have people tune out in the third hour.
They're tuned out already. So, yeah. So, no, I'm not anti. People get mad at me because I said I don't think I need the vaccine.
Wait, here's
'Cause
the
I'm
thing.
healthy.
You have the longest platform in the shortest attention span society's ever known. So when people put the viral clip of Burr telling you, don't act like we know what the fuck we're talking about.
Right.
That was like 22 seconds of a 3-hour podcast.
Not
So
only
they go,
that,
oh,
it's
Rogan's a fucking anti-masker.
That was me trying to get Burr riled up.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Yeah.
people don't have, there's no context anymore.
Right, of course.
It's
yeah.
done.
It is weird because you think like people know what you're doing. Like with Bill, you're always like, "Come on, you gonna listen to them?" You're always gonna say that to him. It's like, "Bah, bah," and then you fucking crank him up and let him go.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm like, "You really think these fucking masks work?" You know, they say masks are all bullshit, and then next thing you know, Bill's, that fucking Irish face gets red, and he's on a rant. I mean, obviously, masks do something. You're breathing through a filter. It's the question is like, how much does it filter? I don't know. I mean, some people say it does nothing because the air is getting in and the particles are smaller than the air. And some people say it blocks a lot of what's coming out, like a certain percentage of it. But here's the thing, like, look at how few people got the flu this year.
That's my hypocrisy. First of all, COVID for me for a year has been the best excuse I've ever had. This is one of the best years of my life, was 2020
Just to
plus
lounge.
one. was, to have an excuse to not socialize, to not work. Because I'm legendary for every 3 years going, fuck this, I'm done with comedy.
Yeah,
I'm
you
never
you
doing
quit
it
for
again.
like 6 months.
And I
then
know
you-
that I'm lying.
Right.
But mentally, this time I had an excuse to not work. I had an excuse why you couldn't come over, where generally I'm polite and you want to come down and visit. But COVID. And then, well, you really believe that shit? Well, the people around me do. And then I can put the blame on, Chaley and Tracy. Everyone else is worried. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. And then I get this shot, my first one. And,
Did the first one bother you at all? Did it fuck with you?
I'm so afraid of needles that I started drinking at 9 a.m. for a 5 p.m. shot. So the next day when I was sweating through fucking comforters, I don't know, is that hangover or flu residual? But the hypocrisy is that I've always shit on Chaley and Tracy for getting flu shots. You should get a flu shot. No, I don't like needles. Well, I might be killing as many old people by not getting a regular flu shot, but I don't give a fuck about old people, and they're not in my life. Which I think subliminally, a lot of people. If coronavirus was killing that many babies and children, I
Right.
think the same anti-maskers would be attacking you with a crowbar for not wearing a mask in public. You're fucking risking my kid's life. You know how
Probably.
people get fucking ape-like over
Yeah,
their
people
children.
they'd be very different.
But
yeah.
I think that's a fucking natural selection kind of thing. Is I don't give a fuck about old people. They're taking food from the fucking family and the herd. Let them die off. I've been studying evolutionary psychology. I downloaded a book on Audible about it, 16 and a half hours, and listened to it on the way out. So I should
Yeah?
have a degree, even though I didn't understand most of what they were talking about.
What's the book?
The Moral Animal.
Oh, who is that? Who wrote that?
It's like when you started comedy and you go, that guy was really funny. What was his name? I have no idea. I just went to comedy night and there was a guy that was really funny.
What got you into this moral animal book?
Why? Fucking.
Long
That's
drive?
why I love long drives.
Yeah.
Like that's why I left 3 days early because there's nothing that makes me more creative. Like your sensory deprivation tanks. A fucking road trip from Arizona across New Mexico and West Texas.
Yeah.
Nothing but fucking 2 lanes to focus on, nobody out there, and your mind spirals. That was why I had to practice talking.
Sometimes
I
it's
stopped and
great.
did one podcast, my own podcast, which I should promote. I never promote my own. I'm putting more effort into it. We're doing Patreon.
Are you doing Patreon now?
Yeah.
Did you just get tired of doing ads?
Well, we got to make money.
Right.
Like I started that podcast as a default open mic. I started my podcast back when we really thought everyone has a podcast. And since COVID, like I have 2 people that I keep in touch with that are, one's in a mental institution for murdering his mother,
Whoa.
actually in a halfway house now.
They're gonna let him out?
Yeah, he's got a job. I have
Killed his mom?
Yes, I assume stabbed her to death. I never really got into the details. But
Whoa.
he's come to my shows. He gets day passes and nice
Yeah?
kid. And then Bobby Caldwell,
Nice
notes from
kid?
the pen.
Hold up. Let's
Yeah.
not gloss over this. Nice kid stabbed his mom. What happened?
Yeah, it's a mental illness.
And they're gonna let him out? Did they fix it?
He's out.
How'd
He
they-
only went back in because of COVID, and now
How
he's
long
back
was he in
out.
for?
Not very long. I think
How's
it was
his mom?
2014.
How's his mom's family feel about this?
The-
2014.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, that quick.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You go in jail
fucking-
for 8 years?
Legions. He went to. He thought. He thought his mother was the devil and was going to hurt the rest of the family. This isn't like.
Yeah, but you
this
said
isn't cool mental
2014?
illness. Like
2014?
I'm kind of bipolar, so
Right.
excuse my behavior. This is like serious mental illness. Voices in your head.
That's like Jason Voorhees shit. Like, why do they let him out?
Well, they put him in. He got found not guilty by reason of insanity.
Wow.
Went to a mental institution. Showed great progress.
And now he's out.
Well, he's halfway
Sort of.
house. He's got a job and a bank account, and he was employee of the month at his job.
Who hires him?
It's like
Knife company?
a knife company. He doesn't have sponsorship, but the point is he's starting a podcast. Bobby at notesfromthepen.com fucking accidentally killed his wife during a suicide attempt, and now
Wait, what?
He's the other guy.
Jesus Christ!
But that guy's brilliant. He's really strong. He was drug addicted and tried to kill himself, and fucking the bullet went behind him as his wife was trying to stop him, killed her. And yeah, he's doing 15 years. So he's like 4 years away from release in Michigan. Hopefully, fucking Michigan starts. They don't have a good behavior kind of thing where Bobby would be out by now. That guy's actually a legit writer. He does on his website. He has he's a comedy fan, and he has all these like how a comic these different comics. Pull up notesfromthepen.com and how comics would fare in prison, because he rates all the comedians how they would, and of course you do very well. He'll pull it up.
This book that you have.
The point is, they both have podcasts. Bobby's podcast is really popular now.
Let me see. Andrew Santino, 7 out of 10. Redhead, quick wit, relatively young, confident. He'd find his crew. I feel like redheads fight more than usual, so he'd probably get into a few altercations, but generally would be all right with some news stories and a few scars. Go up a little bit.
Go to Rogan. Amy Schumer.
Question mark. Adam Sandler, 9 out of 10. If I had only seen his comedies, I would have scored him lower. But there's a depth, even darkness under the surface. Have you seen Uncut Gems? Mm-hmm. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like if you think you know who Adam Sandler is, watch Uncut Gems. I mean, that guy's an incredible actor. Like if you see Waterboy and then you see this, you'll go, wait a fucking minute. This is the same guy? Like, how come you haven't been doing this the whole time? Like, he's so good. You wonder, like, it's crazy that he does these, like, silly movies, which I guess he loves. And I love Zohan's one of my favorite movies.
There's one that I watched on the Hangover Sundays where you go, I just need something dumb,
right?
But not too dumb. I forget what it was. It was one of the dumb ones. I swear he's someone's dad and comes back into his life. I think that is probably 7 of his movies.
Oh, yeah. He's got a gang of those kind of movies.
But it was like, this is like so perfectly dumb for what I need in my head right now.
Yeah, they're fun movies. Like, me and the family, when we went into the COVID lockdown, we watched every Adam Sandler movie. We had like movie night basically every night because we were just trapped at home. You know, in the beginning, everyone was trapped. That's all we did. We stayed at home. We watched movies. We went to the grocery store. And then slowly but surely, people started getting annoyed with it.
Well, that's the difference is, and it was triggering to hear when you said me and the family, because that's the part of Joe Rogan no one ever considers is you do actually have a family. I do not. So for me at home, it was just the usual suspects that would come over and would, you know, in the summer we'd have movie nights out on the patio.
Yeah.
You know, watch The Jerk. Why would you watch The Jerk again? Because we're locked down.
It's a good fucking movie.
Yeah, and having cocktails on the patio.
The Jerk is kind of historic too. It's like it's not just a good movie. It's like you're watching a chunk of history. Like this is when Steve Martin came out with that movie back in the day. That movie was the shit. It was the shit.
And it still is.
It is.
I don't know if younger people appreciate a lot of this stuff that we do.
The Jerk?
But I think the jerk held up in front of an audience of younger people. So
it's fucking
some
great.
of them you go, even myself, like Kentucky Fried Movie, you go, oh, that was the shit in 1979. And then you watch it, you go, this is the dumbest fucking movie.
I didn't see that. I think I saw it back in the day, but I haven't seen that recently.
Movie 42 is the one that we found.
What's that?
I think it's called Movie 42. Hey, I wanted to see how Rogan fared in prison on Notes from the Pen. Movie 42 is like it's a sketch comedy, but like huge names are in it. Like Hugh Jackman was got
really?
balls on his chin. It's just really
balls on his
dumb.
chin?
Like it's basically sketch comedy, but filmed like a movie.
Okay.
Anyway, it was one of the things that we found just watching dumb
Movie
shit.
43.
Sorry,
The
See?
biggest cast ever assembled.
That's why I have to have you fact check me, Jamie.
Kristen Bell. Blah, blah, blah. Joey Diaz, 9 out of 10. This is pointless. Joey Coco Diaz has already done
Oh,
time.
you're fucking 10 out of 10.
I got 10 out of 10. Visually and physically, multiple black belts. Son of an Irish cop from Boston. New Jersey, actually. First choice for a victim. Respectful, intuitive, and disciplined. Cakewalk. Perfect score. Oh. There we go.
Joe,
did I
you
do
don't
better
even
than
have to
Joey
read it.
Diaz?
I love where it says Joe List. See Chris Hardwick with glasses. But I talk to Bobby a few times a week, and he's a fucking great guy. My point was he has merch. He doesn't just have a podcast. He's selling merch.
From
when
the
I
joint.
started my podcast, I thought this is just a throwaway because everyone has a podcast. Now I have 2 friends in prisons or mental institutions that have podcasts and are probably pushing more merch than me. So
the guy who killed his mom, he has a podcast as well?
I don't think he has a lot of listeners.
Well, he does now.
He
called?
just put out 2.
What's it called?
The Ward.
Oh, wow.
But he does open mics at in the mental institution.
What?
Yeah,
Mental institution has open mics?
he started it.
Isn't comedy bad for your mental health? Like if
His comedy is bad for everyone else's mental health. And I'm very honest with him. Like, he sends me clips of him, and I go, I didn't even know when I would give you a polite laugh because I didn't know where the joke was.
That's not good. And
But he's fucking-
getting out.
But he's a great he's aware of his psychosis. Like, he thought Lorne Michaels was secretly telling him he was going to be on Saturday Night Live.
Maybe
So
he
what he
was.
does, he murders his mother. Stay with me. Then he drives from the southeast up to New York City. He gets on the set of Saturday Night Live, texts pictures to his sisters saying, see, I'm on the set. Then finally security sees the error in their ways. They escort him off. Huge fan of Legion of Skanks. So he goes down, he hangs out at the Cave and Creek. The podcast, like Big J,
Right.
They know who this guy is.
They know his deal?
Actually, I just did Legion of Skanks, and I dialed Twyman. I could call Twyman right now,
Oh, boy.
but I won't.
Yeah, let's not. Jesus Christ, that's hilarious.
And then they finally caught him, and he went to Rikers Island, and then he got found not guilty. Anyway, he's a big comedy fan.
Well, there you go.
Said to say hi.
Tell him I said hi back. It's a real bummer when you like someone and then you hear their comedy and you're like, I can't be friends with you.
Well,
know?
this is
Yeah. Well, he's a different case.
it's
But like when you like at the store, there was always an interesting hodgepodge of beginners and veterans, people that had been doing the road forever, and then there'd be people that you hung out with. You're like, oh, he seems like a funny guy, and then you see his set, and you're like, oh shit, I can't hang out with you. I just can't because you're not gonna make it. It's like
you've never dated a comedian.
no, I did when I was 21.
Where
When I was 21.
I was in a relationship for like a year and a half,
It can get rough.
and
Yeah.
they're working out bits, and you can't I can tell Twyman. I don't get why you would even think that's a joke.
Right. And he can handle
Because
it.
who's he gonna kill? Me?
If he kills another person, he's really going away this time.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, none of these meds are gonna work.
Yeah, the dating comedian thing, it works sometimes. Like Tom Segura and Christina Pazitsky, it works great. You know, Bonnie McFarlane,
It's
Rich
funnier
Voss,
than
works
Voss,
great.
so it's the power dynamic.
Yeah. Well, they're both funny. They're both
Yeah,
very
no,
funny.
and
as is Christina and Segura. They're both very funny.
Yeah.
The problem is when one is not. Yeah. And then it's usually like ugly male comic who's funny and a hotter female comic who's not funny, who needs someone to do punch up.
Yeah, writes their jokes for them.
It's always the case. They're always like half-ass writers, and they get hooked up with some really funny comic who
Troll
is fucking way above his head.
Old troll guy like me or Bill Maher.
And he's fucking way above his head, and so he helps punch up her act. I've had a lot of friends that have had those kind of weirdo. Natasha Leggero, Moshe Kasher. That's another good relationship between two funny people.
All right.
But there's been a lot of those relationships where the one of them is not good.
How many times have you fallen into the trap of the comedian that you see them do 5 minutes in the belly room or whatever? You go, that guy's got he's really funny, and then you realize, oh, he stumbled into 2 accidentally funny jokes that he doesn't even understand are funny, but you're already promoting him.
I knew a girl who was like that. For whatever reason, it never clicked. I don't want to say her name, but it never clicked. But I saw her at an open mic night one time, like 15, 16 years ago, and I was like, holy shit, she's a fucking monster. I was like, she is going to be huge. She's going to be goddamn huge. And she never put it together, but she had one open mic night set in the belly room, and I watched it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that is a funny person.
This is a trap as well. When you say, I'm not going to say their name. So right now, there's 130 women thinking, he's talking about me. Is he talking about me?
No, the one I'm talking about, she's doing great with other stuff. So it's not like, that's the thing with comics. It's like either they make it or they're a tragedy. Either they make it as a comedian or whatever it is that sought them, that made them seek out becoming a comic, ruins whatever's left of their life. If they can't make it in comedy and they see all these other people make it in comedy, then they're depressed and angry and bitter and they just want to burn the world down. But this woman's not like that. She actually became successful at other stuff.
Have you had people turn on you because they thought you were going to help them as much as you helped other comics?
No, not really. I help people as much as I can. There's only so much you can help, and there's some people you can't help. Like what you're doing is so poor. It's just like there's nothing there. Like I don't know what you need to do to change the way you're interfacing with reality.
What about older comics that?
Oh, that's bad.
That's where they just stopped trying. You're like, yeah, we're going in a different direction on this tour.
Imagine if you were still doing your act from like 2000. Mm-hmm. Imagine. You had some great bits in 2000. I remember your act in 2000. It was funny as fuck. Imagine if you just hung on to that and you kept doing it on the road. There's a lot of guys like that.
Yeah. We
know them. And they're out there. They're just fucking... It's like... I mean, if you're in a band, it's a different story, Like, I think band members don't mind doing old songs. Like the Stones will go out there and they'll do an old album, and I don't think it's a problem. But a comic, it's just like there's something. It's death. There's something about like rehashing an old perspective and trotting it out there like you give a fuck. It's like,
I find myself in that position where I still do give a fuck about issues because you and I both talk about shit that's horrible in society.
Yeah.
Generally, and when that doesn't change and you're still angry about it, but you already did like 3 different bits from 3 different angles, and I can't eat this pie with a different fork again. The fuck do I do?
Right. And then sometimes
everything new is fucking. I don't understand.
How much are you
talk
on
about
social
TikTok?
Media? Oh, I haven't fucked with
the
TikTok
point is,
yet.
I don't know about a lot of shit, but I'm aware of what I don't know, so I try not to launch an opinion.
Yeah, the old perspectives that are still valid are weird too, because it's like nothing's changed. It's like some old perspectives that you had, they are still good, like they are still valid. I guess I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about comics that just like, they become like a carpenter. Not that there's anything wrong with being a carpenter, but they got tools, and they just like, oh, this one needs a fucking T-square, and I'm gonna use a hammer on that, and they're not comics anymore. They're just like tradesmen.
Yeah, they're playing fucking Tetris. All right, this point of view fits into this.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good way to put
with
it.
a very dated reference, because that's the last video game that was on a phone that I saw. Oh, they still have Tetris, and I still use the reference. So yeah, at some point you're gonna suck unless I don't know what's worse is like being the guy who has dated references because he doesn't know like now video games are in 3D or 4D or
HD.
immersive fucking experience, or being the old guy that like still watches whatever kids watch and
Right.
uses those references.
70-year-old guy playing Twitch games online. Yeah. Yeah, they
It's
that
like
might be
Grand
worse.
Theft Auto 6. Is it 7 yet? I don't know.
How many Grand Theft Autos are there, Jamie?
They're still on 5.
5?
Yeah.
Oh,
10 years. I'm close to it.
10 years?
It's been a while. They're still promoting it though.
You mean
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5 came out 10 years
It
ago?
came out right around the
No
time I
shit.
got a job.
So that's even a
so
dated
about
reference.
8-9 years. Yeah.
I'm using a 10-year-old reference as a new reference of something I don't understand. Like
It's so
it just
popular, so no. I mean, you're not really that wrong, to be honest with you.
well, it's
Are they making a new one?
They are very quiet about that, so like no one knows.
they're very quiet about a lot of things. Like if you were a comic that like maybe 8 years ago was hired to be a comic that's in the game and you put on the whole fucking CGI suit and you did your act in front of a fake audience that's, so they can put it in the game, but you had to sign all sorts of non-disclosure agreements, like it's the biggest secret that you're going to be on the game and then you're never on the game. You still to this day could not fucking talk about it. That's my point.
Annie Letterman's one of the bigger voices in that game.
Is she really?
Yeah.
I
She's like the
fucking
sister.
love her.
I love her.
The Comedy Store documentary.
Yeah, she was great in it. She was great.
One of the good things about COVID, and I could go on about all the great things about COVID, and I'm sorry if 500,000 people are collateral damage to the joy that I've gotten out of COVID, is I get to learn about a lot of new comics that I don't watch comedy because I'm always afraid, I'm going to,
Yeah. She's one of my favorites.
And that was that Comedy Store documentary that made me, oh, fuck, I love this chick.
Yeah.
Turns out she went to the Death Valley party. They had a resurgence of it. A small core group went out to Death Valley in October, and she showed up, and I pussied out. Like, I don't want to drive fucking 13 hours to fucking Death Valley. But
You get to meet her anyway. She's I'm trying to get her to move out here. She probably will. She's fucking brilliant, man. She's
Bargatze?
the real deal.
Oh, yeah, no,
Nate Bargatze's fucking hilarious.
I'm trying to think of Nate Craig was one. Sam Morrill.
Sam Morrill's very funny. Very funny.
Yeah, like I actually sat
Yeah.
down and watched a bunch of people.
There's a great crew coming up, you know? There's do you pay attention to Andrew Schultz? You listen to his stuff?
Yeah, no,
Hilarious.
Schultz. There's a few that I'm terrible, and so are you, at following up a lot of times. Like, hey Joe, on Sunday, what time on Wednesday, and where do I go? And
I didn't text
come
you
to
back.
no, and it affected all my travel plans. And
I'm sorry.
And then I asked the fucking worst person ever, hey,
Who'd you ask? Red Band?
No. Red Band's the one who fucking he was the hero. No, Brett Erickson and fucking Kerry Mitchell. I'm like, can you at least tell me, like, do you
get
know,
there?
like, what part of Austin so I could book a hotel near it? And they didn't say, I don't know. They gave me the wrong information. They gave me the information of the fucking new, place. And he lives like 10 minutes north of there. I like, well, where does he do the podcast there? Like, I want to be like Uber distance, but if you live out in fucking buttfuck rich part of town, they might not have Ubers. Ron White fucked us like that once.
Did he?
Well, yeah, he's like, after the show in Atlanta, he showed up and did a guest spot. But you have to come to my house to party afterwards. It's just right down the road. It's like fucking almost an hour away. We're going to be on the tour bus, so we'll take all of you on the tour bus, and we're coming back through this way. Anyway, tomorrow we'll drop you back off, and we party through the night. Like one of the hardest fucking hangovers I've ever lived through with a show the next night.
Ron White's sober now.
Oh, well, you tell me that, but hey, so the next morning, as we're still like vaguely awake, he's like, you guys got to get an Uber. I'm like, I thought the tour bus is taking us back. change of plans.
Oh God.
Like, and then it's a gated community on a golf course, and a fucking Uber takes 2.5 hours. So we're drinking again to fucking tamp down the hangover. And then it was one of the worst shows I've ever had that night, where I said, if I gave refunds, this would be the show, but I don't. Yeah, I heard did he do some like ayahuasca?
Yeah, he went. He's more than 60 days sober now, sharp as a tack. I did the Chappelle shows with him last week. I did Sunday and Tuesday with him last week. And I did Vulcan Gas Company in town, too. I did that with him, too. He's fucking sharp as fuck. And just completely sober. He went to the doctor. Big mistake, right? You don't go to the doctor.
Nope. Nope.
He went to the doctor. The doctor gave him the old once-over and go, we got to fucking hit the brakes on this train. Like, this runaway train is heading right for a cliff.
Did he tell you why he went to the doctor?
Nope. I didn't ask. I feel like Ron White tells you everything he wants to tell you.
Oh, I do. Because that's my doctor. Who did I just talk to? I can fuck it. Jordan Zevon, Warren's son.
Oh.
Who I've known peripherally through like MySpace and social media. Like we've DM'd here and there. He sent me like Warren Zevon's like original practice amp. Fucking cool guy. And I said, hey, I want you on the podcast. This was just a couple weeks ago. And he's like, I'm probably not that interesting. I'm not Jordan Springsteen. And but here's my number anyway, because I don't drink anymore. And I called him up and I go, I'll tell you if you're interesting or not. And he told me the most interesting story. He got diagnosed with cirrhosis, and then I'm wrapped. Like, well, what made you go to the doctor to begin with? What symptoms should I be looking for that you had? This like Hedberg's old joke. My girlfriend wanted me to get an AIDS test. So I called my friend. I said, hey, Brian, do you know anyone with AIDS? And he said, no. And I said, well, you know me. Yeah. What should I look for? I have none of those symptoms. I think I'm good.
You're a moderate regular drinker. That's what I would say.
Well, it's also 1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, but I mean, you drink a lot of light beer.
No, that's
over.
That's like 13 years ago.
When
I
did
moved
you
to
stop with the light
cocktails
beer?
because I don't know anything. I need you as a fucking personal trainer of life. In 2008, I quit smoking for a year, and I got really fat. And so what I did is I switched from Miller Lite to vodka cranberry straight, thinking, oh, cranberry is a juice, which is good for you. No, it's got like 8 times the fucking sugar.
You ever had like an actual cranberry? They're disgusting.
Oh, yeah. They're
Cranberry juice cocktail is just sugar. Yeah.
Well, yeah, now I do vodka soda with just a splash of juice.
That's a good
Yeah, but at
way to
first
go.
I go, oh, juice is better for me. I'm not considering sugar makes you fat.
Yeah, that shit's real fatty. But the cigarettes, what is it? What happens when you get off
That's
the
my
cigarettes?
problem.
It jacks up cigarettes jack up your metabolism, right? It does something, and when you get off of it, slows you
it
down.
kills your appetite.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
But it also doesn't the nicotine like rev you up? Like
Yeah.
it burns calories too.
Yeah, no, if I'm on a bender and the hangover will kick in when I light my first cigarette the next day, and then I'll get like booze shakes.
Oh,
It's after the first cigarette.
that's interesting. The
Well, I
cigarette
guess that
kicks
means it
in.
does jack you up.
Yeah.
Like you're
I
holding,
like.
I'm holding a drink with 2 hands, like leaving Las Vegas, where he can't sign the fucking banknote.
I remember that movie. I like smoking cigarettes before shows. I did it once
Wait,
with
you smoked
Hinchcliffe.
cigarettes?
Yeah.
I remember when you barely drank. I remember one podcast we did a million years ago where you had like 3 beers and you were saying you were drunk.
Really?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, but I mean, that was like 2009 when I started podcast.
I have no idea of
I was
time.
for sure drinking, like actual drinking then.
Well,
yeah.
you're older. You don't have the memory that I do.
Yeah, I'm over by like what 2 months?
No, tomorrow's my birthday, and
How old are you
turn-
tomorrow?
You're February, right?
No, I'm August. How old are you tomorrow?
Oh wait, I'm older than you.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. I thought you were a month older than me.
No.
All right. Well,
Are
you're
you
a kid.
54
You have
tomorrow?
no idea what you're talking about. I'm 54 tomorrow.
I'll be 54 in August. Isn't that weird? When I was a kid, I thought 54 people, that was a dead person. You weren't doing shit. You're just laying around waiting to rot out from the inside.
I know, and I still feel like that, and everyone's aging beautifully, and I'm not going to keep up.
Ron White was fucking luxurious head of hair, and now that he's 60 days sober, sharp as a tack, I think he's going to pull through this swimmingly.
I don't remember him not being sharp as a tack.
Well, he was always great, even when he was drunk. I mean, he was always a great comic, for sure, even when he was drinking, like, every day. But, like I said, I didn't ask for specifics, what it is that was getting him, but something was getting him. It's something bad enough where he got so scared that not only did he get off the booze, but then he went to Costa Rica and did multiple ayahuasca ceremonies. Yeah.
Oh.
And he wants to talk about it, but I don't want to talk to him about it until he talks about it on the podcast. I
Yeah.
go, let's just tell me on the air, because the
Exactly.
first time you tell me, it'll be the best.
That's do you? Because I'm always in that mindset.
Yeah.
Of, like Jordan Zevon, that conversation, we talked for almost an hour, and I go, I just wasted a fucking podcast. I'm monetizing in my head, even without money. I'm monetizing, capitalizing on a personal conversation where I like, fuck, that would have been a great.
You could look at it
podcast.
that way, but you could also look at it like you want to share this in its purest and best form with all the people that enjoy your podcast.
That's
and the
why
best way to
when
do
I
it.
saw you, I go, just tell me the stuff that we're not going to talk about on the podcast. Don't fucking waste a breath.
Well, that stuff will be soon. We get the stuff that I told you not to talk about. It's just a matter of we have to get up and running.
yeah,
once we're up
but
and
I don't want to waste a breath that's worth shit.
What is this? TX whiskey?
That came from a fan,
Oh,
and
Jesus, it's probably tainted.
now I just opened it before because I had the booze shakes before you showed up, and I go, I should open this now because I don't want to be quivering.
Smells good. I did a podcast yesterday with Marcus Luttrell.
That is not a sponsor. TX, I brought that bottle on purpose.
for Texas.
If I had a whiskey sponsor on my podcast, I would be making bank.
We have a whiskey
because-
sponsor. We have a Buffalo Trace. They're the shit. You ever have that?
Yes, I have.
Phenomenal.
And I could, if there is anything I could sell on my podcast,
It'd be booze.
it's liquor.
Yeah.
When I was a Miller Lite drinker on stage, I think my first 5 specials of whatever, like CDs or DVDs, when they made the transition, you can hear me saying, "Can I get another Miller Lite up here?" And I wasn't pushing the product; it's just what I drank. But on the road, they would sell out of Miller Lite. If I was doing a week, by fucking first show Friday, they're sold out of the brand I'm drinking. I'm like, it tastes exactly like fucking Coors Light or Bud Light. I can tell the difference. A whiskey I could fucking sell. So yes, I am actively fucking searching out a whiskey sponsor.
Maybe you should go to the doctor first, get checked out. Make sure everything's okay.
Feel great.
Okay, fine.
Do I look bad?
Now you look great. Like I said, Ron White's 10 years older than you. And he's been going hard forever. He's been going hard for 50 years.
Is he? He was a cigar smoker.
Yeah. Still smokes cigars. He still smokes weed. But he's
I've
he's
been
off.
doing the edibles.
Have you? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that on your Instagram or your Twitter, rather. I was like, look at this.
yeah. It's,
You know, paranoid?
no, not really. But I've been doing them mostly during a fucking year of COVID. So
That would make you paranoid, though. Don't you just think of mortality and life and death and people you used to know?
10 milligrams. Well,
Oh,
sometimes.
little baby
Yeah.
doses. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get paranoid anyway. I get fucking paranoid on the road. Driving through West Texas. I know. How far have you been from Austin?
I've
in
been-
a car.
Not recently, but I've driven, down to Houston and Dallas.
Well,
Yeah.
West Texas, just like
Yeah, West Texas, you might as well be in a vampire
especially
movie.
when I'm in that headspace after, okay, I just did 450 miles, stopping to piss once with my gator up. The gator's fucking great because it hides my fucking old man neck flesh. So
Well, there was a
great
lot of
thing
guys
about-
that were rocking the neck bandana anyway.
Yeah.
For a long time, and now they just keep it going. That, like, by the way, that neck bandana doesn't do jack shit.
I know.
I talked to my doctor about it. He was like, you might as well not have a fucking mask on with that thing.
Well, no,
It's all open at the bottom.
If I'm in a place, I put a fucking N95 and then I put
you?
this over it.
Are you taking any vitamins or anything to try to protect
I
yourself?
took 4 B12s before I came here. I get chewable zincs with C. At home, I load up on C. I wake up, I drink a smoothie that has carrot juice.
What?
Beets. If it's a red one, I'll do beets and strawberries, spinach. I don't fucking do kale, broccoli. Then I have the green mix, flaxseed and peanut butter for protein. If it's green, I do cucumber and celery for flavor, green apple,
Are
pineapple.
you feeling better from doing this?
Well, no, I feel like shit all the time.
That doesn't help at all?
I'm sure it does, but I don't notice. I'm really bad with cause and effect. Like I get nervous. When I started this, I'm like, I'm nervous and I love it, but I'm not mentally aware that I'm nervous. I know physically that I'm nervous. When I booked the UK, I'm so terrified of the UK for some reason, even though they're very welcoming to me. I'm terrified of their audiences because generally I think they're smarter and funnier than most American comedians. Just the average guy in the crowd that I know when I can't brush my tongue because I gag that I'm nervous, where I wasn't really aware that I was nervous until...
I think they have very high standards for your work in the UK. They don't tolerate sloppiness so much. They want you to be prepared.
But I don't know what they expect, and
because you don't know the culture as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't profile like you can in the States, where you can look at a person and know by what they're wearing or how they carry themselves. Over there, everyone's just a mutated head like me with fucking, like, I don't know.
They're generally very accepting towards American comics, though. Like, when American comics have gone over there, they've done really well. Like, Bird did his last special there. Obviously Hicks became huge over there. A lot of guys go over there and do really well.
Yeah, I don't know why,
there.
but I just don't know.
They're very polite there too, right?
During the day, and then a few pints later, then all their aggro that they've swallowed because of their culture. Oh, it's impolite to say this, and that's why they're fucking smashing each other in the head with pint glasses at the end of the night at last call or whatever they call last call.
They got a lot of stabbings over there. It's a weird thing because it's hard to get a gun.
Yeah. There's an old bit I used to do. Like, we have all the shootings, but less of the fist fights because,
True.
That we have no health care. They can afford to beat the fuck out of each other because they don't have to pay for the stitches. It's an old bit,
they don't have
so
a
I don't
copay.
remember how it goes.
Tell me about this book. You were telling me about this
Sam
book.
Talent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Running the Light. That's for you.
That? Because thank you. I think someone else told me about this and I wasn't paying attention. And
it's the best depiction of road comedy. There's never been any movie in the United States that shows stand-up comedy for what it is. What was Adam Sandler? Back to Adam Sandler. The one he did where, like, he's the old bitter comic that thinks he has cancer, but he's wrong. Funny People.
I never saw that.
That was, but it wasn't applicable to road comedy, where this is someone who's still doing one-nighters in fucking Amarillo, Texas.
Oh.
And he's an old guy,
And he's
our
53.
age.
Yeah. We were talking before the podcast about Bill Maher's book. A lot of people don't know it. It's one of the things that before I talked to Bill Maher, I wanted to tell him. It's a great
Did you tell
book.
his fucking writers to stop stealing my fucking bits?
Are they
Sorry,
stealing your
yeah,
bits? Really?
That Patreon was supposed to go out fucking 3 weeks ago, but Chaley was on vacation. Yeah, so again.
What bit?
Well, this time, it's subtle hints at it. It was about Well, my bit was about the 10K fun run for your own ego, I think was the track title. But his was, we have to stop raising awareness for raising awareness. And then there's things that are absolutely specific to my bit from 4 years ago when it was relevant. He goes into, like, and football. Can you stop with the pink shoes? Like, I'm trying to watch the game here. Like, specific lines in my cadence where, like, I know you fucking... I don't think Bill Maher stole shit because I don't think he's that committed to his own show. I think he walks into his writer's room and says, what's my opinion this week? You go. I think his... But he's fucking ripped me off since 2007 as a goof, PR stunt, basically, when Bristol Palin was announced that she was, pregnant at like 17. When Sarah Palin was a vice presidential candidate, we put up a website, savingbristol.com, where I was offering her like $25,000 to have an abortion so she doesn't ruin her life and get stuck in that cult. The next day or within that week, he put up a fucking Levi, the father of the baby, a website saying we're gonna raise money to fucking like mirror like this is fucking specific. And this last one was he's talking about NFL players wearing pink shoes. The bit I did like 5 years ago, where the NFL hasn't done pink shoes for years, and it's not even football season, and you're using the exact same fucking...
Wow. It's probably his writers. You're probably right.
Fucking abortion is green. It was one of my favorite bits I did a long time ago. Yeah, he did that.
That bit? I remember that bit very well.
Yeah. And
that's the problem with writers. I mean, we've always had a problem with that at the store. Like, guys would come in, writers would sit in the back of the room, and then you'd hear certain comics bits on someone's monologue.
We had that problem with the Man Show.
Yeah.
Now, it's a reverse problem, is that we know we're going to take the bad beat for doing shitty bits. The sketches like this, do you remember the time we had to do some fucking awful bit that... where we were talking.
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
but we forgot that we were
people.
We forgot we were mic'd up and we were talking about like this fucking bit we're about to fucking. We forgot that the head writer was listening to the entire thing.
The problem is
still feel bad about that.
I don't feel bad about that. We were forced into that situation. That was a trick. I tell people what happened with that show. You and I got pulled aside.
But that specific incident where, like. If we had talked to Tom to his face and said, this thing sucks, but he had to hear it from me smoking backstage by a fucking dumpster and you talking to me, we're like, who fucking wrote this? Jesus Gun. Good God. I can't believe I
would never do a show like that ever again. I don't think you can ever do a show where you bring in producers that aren't comics, that don't understand your sensibility, and then you have network executives that have their opinions and they're not funny, and they all want to get their greasy little hands on the recipe, and it becomes a disaster.
We're Olivia Grace.
Yes,
fucking
very funny.
The best.
I met her when she was like 16.
Yeah, she has
came
a fucking
to the Brea
tattoo of a
Improv.
quote of my bit on her belly from when she was like 16.
Whoa.
And I go, I'll pay for you to get that covered up.
Yeah, get that lasered off, kid.
But we're pitching a series now, and
on what network?
Well,
for what?
Well, the premise is, I don't know if you saw my Louis episode, where the character was named Eddie that was going to kill himself, and it ends with me driving off to my last gig to kill myself. But what if Eddie didn't kill himself? And here, 15 years later. It's kind of a Harold and Maude thing, and it's through a British production company where you go, oh, okay, it's a huge difference, but we're pitching it homegrown network. The point is that I don't need it now. When we did the Man Show, I needed that, and you didn't because you were doing Fear Factor. Like if you weren't doing Fear Factor, you had the the presence to go, fuck this. I'm not doing this. No, we're doing it this way. And I was the guy that was in the office every day going, whatever you say. I think that's funnier.
Well, I only did
way.
it because I was going to do it with you. Like, I was very specific with them. Like, they pitched a bunch of other people, and I said, no.
Yeah.
I said, I'm doing it with Stanhope, or I'm not going to do it. I'm like, I need a real comic. I'm like, I need a crazy person.
Yeah, but I did not have...
You didn't have the ability to say, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I do. So now it's kind of fun to pitch a series.
Right.
I don't need it. Like, I think it would be funny. I love the premise, and it would be dark like that episode I did.
Well, she's great. I'm down for anything that she does. But I just feel like at this day and age, like anytime you bring other people into the mix, it's a mess. It's just, you got to be autonomous.
But I'm saying now I have that presence of mind where I wouldn't do something...
Terrible.
Stupid because a suit went, how about instead of you're like a suicidal drunk guy, you're a crazy guy who wears funny hats. Like, I would not capitulate.
Right. Like if we were in the same situation that we were in way back then with the Man Show, today we would be like, no, we're not doing this sketch. Like there was a bunch of sketches that were like, they shouldn't have been on the show. They just were not good. And these guys, they had this idea of what it is. My favorite fucking scene was the Joey Diaz bursting out naked to introduce us.
Yes.
And
I remember Zoe Friedman.
Cried.
It aged her like a president. Where she became a frumpy old woman looking at Joey Diaz bursting through that going, do you think this is what Man Show is about?
Well, no.
Yes.
That was before he did it. Before he did it, she thought that. And then once he did it, that became the number one thing on the show. That was all the promos. That was the thing. Like when they show the ads.
We only did it once from my...
Yes. Yeah. But when we did it, that became a part of the promos. When Joey burst out naked and started dancing, that became a big part of the promo. But before then, I made a compromise. I go, we'll do it your way first. And then we'll do it our way. And then we don't have to show this. You've seen this 100. People can find it online. But Joey's the best. I'm so bummed out he's in New Jersey. I'm trying to trick him into coming out here. Once I open my club out here, I'm going to slowly trick him into coming out here. I just have to figure out what's the proper strategy.
I'll come out here more because you're on the perfect side of the country. Like everything east of the 35 corridor that goes all the way from the fucking bottom of Texas up through Kansas City and Minneapolis. I could drive everything west of there, the long route, and listen to fucking Audible books and be in bliss and in like my most hyper creative place.
You still got that white Suburban?
We call it the van because you don't. We still tour in that fucking thing, and you don't want someone to know. You just had a fucking creeper come up to the door here. Like, yeah, you don't want someone to know what you're driving.
Trained killers out there.
You know, I do gigs in shitholes where they don't have a green room, so I sit in the van and smoke cigarettes till fucking Chaley comes out and taps on the window. Goes, come on in through the kitchen. We'll get you on stage. And we call it mobile green room. So we always call it the van on the podcast so people don't look for a white Suburban.
Well, you shouldn't say it again. We'll bleep that out.
No,
bleep
don't bleep it out.
Bleep it out, Jamie.
No, don't bleep it out.
You can put a wrap on it. Camouflage it.
People still say, oh, hey, you gave out, my address is public.
Yeah. Well, I
Which was-
remember. You had those people coming over to your house for the Super Bowl party.
But I was saying, like, it's an open invitation to, like, the town. And you said, so it's like anyone who shows up can go? I go, yeah, but I was talking about the town. So people
but you
still
weren't.
email
No.
me.
You weren't. You were on the podcast actively giving out your address, calling the world to come to Bisbee, Arizona, to come to your party. Don't bullshit me.
Okay.
You were 100% saying, you were putting it out there.
Okay, well, I might have been led into it because of the power dynamic.
Oh my
I blame
God.
you.
The power dynamic.
So it was never like people still will randomly show up and they're taking pictures. It's just a fucking house. It's not a compound or anything. It's got a lot of loud colors. But so we had a couple problems with people who think that I'm talking to them.
Oh,
What's
those
the
guys.
frequency, Kenneth?
Yeah. Did you get any of the chip in the head guys? Any of those guys?
I don't
But a few of
engage
those
them
guys.
enough, but like is still they think that the podcast is secretly talking to you. Like Twyman, who murdered his mother, thought that Lorne Michaels was telling him to come on Saturday Night Live. Had a couple of those where fucking Chad Shank is great. I don't do Facebook, but when he sees problems coming like that, he fucking gives me a head up. So 2 times, once I had to, have you had to do a restraining order yet?
Not yet.
No, I had my first. I felt like, oh, I'm someone again. My first restraining order. The second one, like I warned the cops ahead of time, and the guy, I'm watching on security camera, as the guy's updating his Facebook, and Chad Shank is updating. Yep, he's in town. Yeah, he's hitchhiking. Okay.
Jesus
And
Christ.
and then I alerted the cops, who fucking Bisbee cops have been so fucking cool with me.
Are you friends with the cops in your town?
Well, now a lot of them are judges. They
Became
moved-
judges?
Well, one of them, and then, but yeah, they've all been cool with me. Yeah, a couple friends that are now judges.
Are you there for life? Is that your spot now?
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Let me get to Comedian Grove in a minute.
Comedian Grove.
Yeah, when I left on this trip, right before I left on Sunday, my buddy Raider found a spot where you go, oh, we could make Comedian Grove, like Bohemian Grove for comics. And it was the first time that I really thought, oh, I could leave Bisbee and move there.
Comedian Grove, meaning like you have a place that comics can all move to.
Yeah, where we could set up. It's got like 17 casitas, 29,000
casita?
square, like little
Little houses?
cabins, but southwest.
That's one of those things that I've read, but I've never looked up. Like a casita.
Yeah,
Like,
so you
kinda-
say cabin. Like,
Yeah.
with a main house that's 4,000 square feet, like a ballroom, which would be the showroom, 2,000 square feet, 42 miles from a secondary airport, where you go, oh, yeah, we could. Do you remember the Cave House outside of Bisbee?
Yeah, I thought about buying it. Remember? I told
And
you.
then we said it was $1 million. And I go, if we get 10 comics to pitch in $100 grand, we could have this like a fucking comedians.
Yeah.
Like you always had that idea of the League of Extraordinary Comedians.
Yes.
Like a Skull and Bones. This would be a place we could have a performance space, 17 different places where people could come in, like a private club, free speech zone. I don't know what the fuck
Yeah.
with a showroom, a vacation destination, and I spent half of this drive turning off my fucking Audible book,
Thinking
to
about it.
fucking fantasize. I'm like,
Listen, let's pause you right here. Let's join forces. Let's join forces, Doug Stanhope. Austin, Texas is calling you. That's what I'm doing here. That's my plan. My plan is to, I've already got Tim Dillon moved here.
fucking
Fahim
Dylan
Anwar-
moved here.
Dylan moved here. Tom
isn't he
Segura
here?
moved here. He's on the road. He's doing gigs. It's the best place to do gigs because you're in the middle of the country. You could fly. It's the middle up, middle down. I mean, it's not the middle down, but it's the middle left, middle right, the middle up. It's like to get to everything. It's in the center.
This is making a new LA, and it's
No, it's making no Hollywood, L.A.
This is Bohemian Grove for comedy. This is like a invite only, where you.
No, it's not.
I just spent fucking 3 days fantasizing about this. Don't try
I
to
understand, but I'm
don't
telling
fantasy cockblock
I'm
me.
not fantasy cockblock. I moved here to do this.
I
It's
know.
one of the reasons why I moved here. My plan was move here, get settled, live in a place where there's less people, and also separate stand-up comedy from the entertainment industry outside of comedy. Because we're always been like entertainment industry adjacent, right? Movies and TV shows, they corrupt comics in a way, in the opposite way you would think. You think of like people getting corrupted, it's usually for the worse. But they get corrupted they get watered down. They become politically correct and woke and a part of the system. We've seen it with talk show hosts and even comics that are good that start working in Hollywood. They start quoting things like fucking Sacha Baron Cohen. He made a Facebook message to Mark Zuckerberg asking him why a post from there's a legendary portrait artist from Australia. Is it Lushux? How do you say it? Ushux? I've never said his name out loud. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant portrait artist who does parody. And Sacha Baron Cohen was saying to Mark Zuckerberg, why do you still have this up? It's a parody of Bill Gates with a needle, like a vaccine needle, saying, when are you ready for your upgrade? Or something along those lines. It's just funny.
Yeah.
He did one of Elon Musk after Elon Musk was on my shows, smoking a joint. He did that. Yeah. He's done he does these massive murals and he's a brilliant artist. Sacha Baron Cohen. Ali G, the fucking man. Yeah. I love him. I love his work. He's calling for parody to be taken down off of Facebook. They get corrupted. They get in with this crowd of weird people who want to comply. They all want everybody to be on the same page, and we're working for social justice and inclusiveness. And it's like, Jesus, man. Like, your work is parody. This is parody. How did you get caught in this trap where you think that parody should be taken down? This is so crazy. Pull it up so we can see what it is. Because it's anybody that would think that this was real and this isn't kind of funny. Look at this. Time to install
you're saying
your update.
Zuckerberg is taking this down?
No,
who's fucking corrupted
no.
here?
You're not listening.
You said a lot
Sacha
of
Baron
words.
Cohen says Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh,
how do you sleep at night?
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying.
No, look at this.
Yeah.
This is on Facebook's Instagram right now. Your algorithm is still recommending lies about COVID and vaccines. How many people have to die before you act? Stop death for profit. He's being serious. And this guy. Pull up some of
Do you have
Lushuk's
any
other
idea
stuff.
why that bolsters my opinion of a fucking place out in the middle of the fucking desert is?
Here's another one.
So, I mean,
He
made
did
this afterwards. So.
He did. That's I guess his version of Ali G. But pull up the one of Elon Musk. He did a brilliant Elon Musk. He's really good. But the point is, he does brilliant stuff. It's cool to see. But Sacha
have an
Baron
Elon
Cohen, you go
Musk.
out to Ali G and Bruno and all his different it's all parody. But he got caught up in thinking somehow or another that this parody piece, which is making fun of like QAnon people who think they're getting a fucking microchip installed with the vaccine, he's making fun of them.
Yes.
And Sacha Baron Cohen gets caught up in it.
They've bifurcated comedians.
He's
into
he's going all out. How he's making fun of Ali G. Look, he's genius, man. His stuff is really good. What is his? Is that his Instagram?
Yeah,
What's his Instagram?
Lush sucks, I think, is what it is.
Let's
Unless he says it a different way.
make sure we know what it is so we can tell everybody.
I-
he keeps going after him. It's like
There's absolutely no one in the comedic field that I think has more balls than fucking Sacha Baron Cohen.
No one.
Nobody.
He just got caught up in the thing. He got caught up in the thing where he's probably so successful now, and he's probably hanging out with other successful people and all the Hollywood people, and he's out of the loop. He should know who that guy is. Like, everybody should know who that guy is. That guy's really good. I mean, he does these massive fucking murals too. He's Australian, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, he does these massive. He's a really fucking talented artist. So for him to be making fun of this QAnon meme of like installing a microchip in a vaccine, and for Sacha Baron Cohen, stop death for profit, man, no. I get you didn't get it, but no, man, no. I mean, Ali G in the House. Have you seen that? It's one of my all-time favorite comedy movies. It's Ali G in a movie. Like
Oh
a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
movie. It's fucking genius.
Where he starts fucking the guy, thinking they're gonna die. It was just one of the best
Was that in
scenes ever.
that? Was that in that movie?
I don't know.
So much
it's the
stuff
only
that I've
only
seen.
movie I remember him in, other than the
Dude, he I bought a special VHS player just so I could play his old show from the UK, because there used to
It's
be
that old? It's VHS?
Well, back in the day, it was. See, here was the deal: you could only use there was different regions.
I'm sorry. There's two parts of my brain working here, and one of them is I have to piss.
Oh, go
and that's
piss.
one of the
Go
reasons
piss.
I said,
Go piss.
"Hey, why isn't Tim Dillon here?" So you could focus on him while
and
I
you
go
could
piss.
Oh, just tell me when you have to pee. Don't worry about it, man.
but-
We'll go pee. Go pee. I'll wait.
All right.
I'll wait.
Well,
It's all good.
Talk to Jamie.
I'm gonna talk to Jamie.
Yeah, have a discourse
Okay.
behind my back above
Okay.
me that I can listen to.
I will. There we go. Nice pants. Look at him.
They're PJs.
When I haven't seen Doug in a while, we have to get into a rhythm together, right? This is like what I feel like with him. Like, I love him to death. Like, I love him like family member, but I don't see him enough, you know? And so we have to get in a rhythm when we start talking. But I just hope Sacha Baron Cohen doesn't think I don't like him. I love that guy. I'm a giant fan. I think he's amazing. I just think he just didn't understand what was happening. I just thought it was silly. But my point was, and I'll explain it to, I don't have to explain it to Doug. He's not going to remember. I'll explain it to you. Know the regions thing on VHS recorders? Do you know the old VHS? There was a region for VHS players in the UK, and it was like a different type of VHS tape. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, I don't know how it worked though. I know when this came out. I remember watching it, but that was.
I
stealing
might be
off the
fucking
internet.
this up. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might be fucking it up and confusing it with DVD players. Is it a DVD player thing? It may be. Either way, it's some sort of a recording thing that you can only play stuff from the United States if you bought one from the United States. So if you tried to buy one of the, whether it's VHS or DVD, I can't remember because it's so long ago. If you tried to buy
No,
them,
that's correct. There is the U.S. uses NTSC standards, while the UK uses PAL standard, and it says they will not play on VHS.
okay,
They
so it
won't-
was
yeah,
VHS.
yeah, so you had
Okay,
that for a weird thing.
so the VHS. What was interesting is like you would have to give a non-region VHS tape or VHS player, and the VHS players that were really cheap for some reason would work on everything. Like the ones that were more expensive would only work on US VHS tapes. So I bought a special VHS player
Very smooth.
just to watch the Ali G stuff because I loved him. His interviews, like. By the way, Trump is one of the few guys that he didn't get. Have you ever watched his interview with Trump? Like he sits down with Trump and he's doing his like Ali G thing where he does this character and he just acts like a moron. And a lot of people got like really upset with him. They didn't think it was funny at all. But you could see Trump right away was like, "What? This is nonsense. I'm just getting the fuck out of here." But there were some legendary interviews where people like genuinely got upset with him.
One of the books I listened to on the way out, a guy lives in Austin, Zhang, wrote a book called Rejection Proof, where he was born in Beijing and he lives in Austin, and he was trying to be an entrepreneur, but he found himself afraid of rejection. So for 100 days, he went out every day and did something where he had to face rejection, and he would film it for a video blog back then. And he wrote a book about how but the things he was doing is like, I asked a man for $100. And then I learned something from. I asked a man if I could tie his shoes. And I'm like, I mean, it was inspirational because it's very sweet and heartfelt, and he was facing his own fears. But the pranks were so like base level. I'm like, if you had 4 gin and tonics, this would be a 4-page book. Like, fucking, I'll just ask. And when you look at, Sacha Baron Cohen or even the Impractical Jokers, who I love, like it was nonsense things, but it was still inspirational. But the fucking balls on that guy.
That's a good move, right? If you're having a real hard time with people rejecting you, just go get rejected a lot, and
That's what he did.
That's really bold.
Yeah, and he was facing his own fears, but he also had a lot of insight that went back to evolutionary psychology. And the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. And I go, I just listened to that in a smart fuck book about, that's why the hairs on your fucking back of your neck stand up, is because your animal instinct is to look bigger. You go, oh, wow. It's
Like dogs. Yeah.
yeah, a cat's.
Cats too. The cats arch their back too.
Yeah.
Try to get bigger. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry I had to piss and fucking ruin the entire
No, you didn't
flow
ruin
of
it
this.
at all. It's It's weird because like you could say if you were a reductionist, you could look at someone get rejected and go, "Oh, get over it. It's nothing. They didn't hurt you. They just said no." But it's not real. We know that's not
what
real.
he gets into is exactly Darwinian theory about there's a reason that you don't that you are afraid of rejection because in your ancestral place, rejection would make you not be an available mate or you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it would wreck your confidence. And your confidence, I think it probably has...
And then chicks wouldn't fuck you and you wouldn't spread your seed.
Right, but don't you think that has something to do, like the confidence thing must have something to do with either fighting off enemies or predators?
Yeah.
Like
I learned the pecking order there's a reason they call it the pecking order is because some naturalist realized, chicken A will peck at chicken B or chicken C will peck at D, but they... don't do that. D doesn't fight A because they know it would disrupt. They would lose, and then they wouldn't spread seed.
Yeah, I've seen it happen. It's with chickens, rather.
Yeah. Oh, I thought open mic night.
That too.
I had to stop ourselves from getting into. Oh yeah, we know shit about fucking evolutionary psychology just because I read a fucking long book while I was scared of Alpine Texas.
I think that's one of the reasons why people are attracted to risk takers too, and I think this has actually been proven, or it's at least I shouldn't say proven, been theorized that like guys like dudes who do those BMX jumps and shit, and guys who do like crazy risk taking like things. There's something about that a person who's willing to risk their health and life is attractive to the opposite sex because that's a person who has courage. Even though it's a weirdly bastardized form of courage, it's not the courage to go fight the enemies of the town that are coming in to try to steal your women and children, but it's courage nonetheless. So like we recognize that courage by itself is it's very powerful. The ability to do something that's very dangerous and you can take a risk. I think that even applies to like why people are attracted to people that go on stage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that comes up in Zhang's book is adding humor and humor where humor fits into.
Yeah. It's a weird thing, right? Like people like people that can handle shit. Men and women, man. If you find a woman who can like take care of shit and like handle a situation, like when things go sideways, and she can laugh it off.
Or not be fucked up by the fact that you are going to live this life and you do your own thing.
Yes.
That doesn't need you to go to theater with her
right.
to offset the time she went to fucking MMA with you. Like, how about you do your own thing? And that's beautiful.
Yeah, the confidence to do your own thing. And I think that's one thing where women in particular lose a lot of respect for men when men cave. Like that's the thing where the guy like used to be into like certain sports or something like that. She's like, why do you watch that? That's for morons. And then you start not watching it. And you start, why do you hang out with those guys? They're idiots. You think they're funny? They're fucking idiots. Stop hanging out with them. Like, And you see those guys, and those women don't want to fuck those guys anymore. It's so crazy that's what happens. When they beat a man down like that, separate him from his friends, don't let him play sports, don't let him get into things that she thinks are stupid. Like, I dated a girl. I've talked about this on the podcast before. She was older than me. It was like one of the few girls I'd ever dated when I was young. She was very hot, too, and fun. And she would tell me what to do, and I would listen. I was 21, and she was 25. And I got in a car accident. Some fucking guy ran a light and slammed into my car. And when my car we had to clean the car out because the car couldn't be driven, she took my White Snake cassette and threw it away. She made me throw it away. I had a White Snake cassette.
That's because Here I Go Again on My Own was on it, and she goes, he's not going to have that anthem.
No, she was saying that it's stupid. She's like, why do you listen to this? This is so dumb. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I fucking just gave into it. And then one day, years later, a fan who had heard the story sent me a cassette to sitting on the old studio right by Jamie's little amplifier. It's a White Snake cassette. But that was one of those things. It's like, I knew where this was going. I was like, okay, this girl's going to keep telling me what to do. And
Bingo and I, our worlds don't collide often.
The hair does. You have the same color hair.
Yeah. No. She's I had to, because Chaley, Tracy, and Bingo all have dyed hair. That's our fucking team. And
That's the
so,
team
so when
colors.
I did this early COVID, just as a goof, I go, oh, now I can dye. Like I did the mohawk first,
I like it, dude.
and I think I might keep it.
I think you should keep it. It felt perfect when I saw you. I was
And
like,
it's
that
fucking.
looks.
There's no better feeling than shaving your head.
Oh, to me, it's so nice. It's so nice because I was trying to keep up with my hair loss, and I got to a point where I was like, this is never. I'm losing this fight. I need to tap out.
Our good friend from Alaska, Billy Bad, he did the same thing. He almost died from his transplant.
Oh
but
my God. Did he get
he's got the same
infection?
Charlie Brown infection.
Imagine that. Oh, he
Well,
died
so
from that.
so did what's the sports guy, Joe Buck.
Joe Buck almost died from a hair transplant.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure he was on Stern talking about it. But he still get the Charlie Brown scar in the
Yeah.
back, and he just fucking wears it well. But he's a badass like you. That's why they call him
This is
Billy
my
Bad.
public service announcement. To just accept your hair loss. If you
Yeah.
look at me from the back of the head, I want you to make fun of me.
Yeah.
Feel bad. Feel
Yeah,
bad.
I,
There's
the
a
fucking
big stupid smile.
My forehawk just goes back to my bald spot.
Yeah, perfect. It's a thing. If you have a good shaped head, it's a lot easier.
I
I have
don't
a
even
friend who
have
has a
that.
flat head. I have a friend who's the back of his head is totally flat.
Well, mine's the opposite. I wish I
you
could
got
trade.
it's got extra brain back there. So
Yeah, it's alien.
memories.
Aliens fucking.
Yeah,
no.
they're big long ones. Like they do that with planks. They squeeze people's heads.
But I think it might take men longer to realize it doesn't fucking matter what you look like if you have a personality.
Well, it definitely matters what you look like, but it doesn't matter enough for you to be spending all your time thinking about it. And there's other things to think about. Like your personality is the most important thing. Like it's everything. If you don't have that, yeah, you don't have anything. But
We could list all the people that should never have gotten laid in their
Ever,
life.
yes.
But they're fucking cool,
They're funny,
or
yeah.
they can play music
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, they got some talent.
The looks are the last thing.
I knew a guy who was in a band, and he was not a good-looking guy, and he was had terrible genetics, just one of those guys. And he had this smoking hot girlfriend, and she just ran the show. She just ran the show. You know, he was this like feeble fellow, and just wasn't like good with confrontation, and he wasn't gigantically successful, but he was successful enough that it was starting to get to him. It was a little pressure, and then he was always like checking in on this super hot girlfriend. You okay? You need anything? Like there was like she was like.
Have
She
you
was
been
like
that
his
guy?
handler. No, I haven't been that guy.
right,
Except
go
that
ahead.
one relationship with that
All right.
25-year-old
Go ahead.
woman.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But it was weird to watch. It was like a predator wasp had taken over a bumblebee and just controlling the bumblebee. Like, and the bee's like, "Where should I go? Where should I do?" But that bumblebee had talent. That bumblebee could sing his ass off. So he'd be out, and then he'd get off stage immediately, grab her and kiss her, mouth kiss her in front of everybody. Like that was his thing. Like wanted everybody to know.
Yeah.
It's dynamics, like power dynamics like that are very weird with people.
I have some questions I wrote on the road. That's why I was so fucking jacked coming
About
in
what?
here after 3 days of driving. Is all of those thoughts about I could talk to him about this, and then I'm going there. I can't remember 3 days of thoughts. I'm gonna belch them all out like a breech birth fucking abortion, all in the first 30 minutes, and have nothing to say.
Douglas will always have something
Well, I
to
had
say.
it went to nowhere because I don't know enough references of new comics or new hot I was gonna do the power dynamic game. I'll save this for Kreischer because he loves games.
Does he?
Yeah, like we always would like. Okay, we're gonna do top 3 comics that you could
right.
tour with if you wanted to tour, and like I picked Chappelle, and I go Bamford. You're like, fuck, I should have picked Bamford, and back and forth. But it was the power dynamic game where if there were 2 like equal parties and they had a relationship, let's just the easy Kreischer Segura. Let's say they were in a gay relationship and one of them wanted to say the other one took advantage of me because of their power dynamic. But you have to make it difficult. Like, okay, who does have? You just said Moshe and
Natasha.
Leggero.
Yeah.
I don't know either of them, well enough. Like, who would have the power dynamic that they could claim he took advantage of me.
I don't think
because-
they do
or
have.
she.
I don't think either one of them have it. I think that's one of the reasons why they work so well. I think they're both really funny.
That's why it's a game.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
started this with who would you rather day drink with, Bukowski or Hunter S. Thompson?
Hunter all day.
See,
Bukowski.
day drink is a different thing, Joe. Like day drink means you're just sullen at a fucking, the lights coming through the tavern door. Hunter would be way too fucking ecstatic to go shoot things. He's a night drunk. I think Bukowski. But the power dynamic game I gave up on because I don't know enough of the fucking...
I would take either. I would be super excited to drink with Bukowski. But don't get me wrong. But when it comes to like a fan of the work,
We stopped playing that game, by the way, when no one could top Bill Murray.
oh yeah, he's the best, right? You'd want to hang out with him.
Yes.
Number one.
Bucket list.
Bill Murray would be number one. Yeah. But, that's over people. Yeah, I guess so.
I'm
he's
going to
like-
my notes.
Yeah.
'Cause, I did two other things.
Bukowski would be great to hang with, no doubt. Don't get me wrong. One of the things that I love about Bukowski more than anything is that he was in the post office till he was like in his 40s.
I
Like he
used
was
to
writing
use him
and it wasn't working.
as a negative inspiration in my 30s, where I'd like be lazy and I go,
Mm-hmm.
fuck it. Bukowski didn't write shit till he was like 43 years old, so I
Yeah.
would use that as negative inspiration for why I can not work because now I'm 53.
Well, there's like you get a different product, right? It's like you could cook a steak and you could sear it for like 5 minutes on each side, or you could cook a brisket and it takes 18 hours. Like they're very different things.
Yeah.
Like you could do it both ways. You could start off and be like gung ho out of the gate when you're 21 years old, or you could be a fucking Bukowski. But you don't get a Bukowski if you're gung ho out of the gate when you're 21 years old. You get a Bukowski after the work, after like struggling at a job.
But I would just
bad
focus on his
relationships.
age,
Yeah.
going, okay,
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything
Right. I know
until
what you're saying.
then. All right, here's the this. You have to understand. You have to drive from Tucson,
Yeah, and that
where you get to Van Horn, and go, should I take the scenic route through Marfa and Alpine, or should I go right to Fort Stockton and check into a fucking horrible hotel that I'm terrified to go in with a pink mohawk in West Texas? And do I wear a mask? Are they going to mock me for wearing a mask?
yeah, you
I
should
don't
cover
know.
that mohawk up with a hat.
Motel Kitzmiller in fucking Fredericksburg. I have to give a shout out to them because that was a place. I don't know if this is a sketchy motel or if it's retro. And I go, fucking Texas is a scary place if you don't know where you are. And this guy, before I could hand him my ID, he said, just want you to know I'm a big fan. And I'm like, oh, thank God, because I didn't
That's
know
hilarious.
if I was going to get fucking murdered
That's
here.
hilarious.
So
Texas has got a lot of open space. That's the weird part about it. Like you feel like you could drive for days. It feels like that. There's some spots where you're like, wow, there's like nothing out here. There's a long road where there's not a lot out there. And you get this weird feeling of like, man, if I just vanished, how long would it take before they found me?
yeah, this is, if you don't know, you have seen No Country for Old Men.
Yes.
That's West Texas.
Yes.
So I was thinking,
Perfect
Joe Rogan,
reference.
do you think at your best moment a better host or a better guest? Like, are you giving me the booger sign?
No, I'm scratching my nose.
Oh, good.
I don't know.
Okay, well, the question evolved as the miles went by to if you were on the Howard Stern show, one shot only, would you be a better of the 5 places on the Howard Stern show, where would your personality best fit in? As the host, the guest, the Artie chair, the Fred chair, we all know that's Greg Chaley's chair. I thought I would be the best Robin Quivers. Would you be the best guest for one episode or the best host? Because you kind of do both here.
His
You have
show
to
is so
carry
different,
shit.
though. His show's so different than any other show. Like he's way away from everybody, and he's
Yeah,
up
yeah.
in that
But I'm
podium.
saying-
Look, it's like an interview. He's doing an interview.
I'm saying there's
don't do
2
that,
open
though.
spots on the Howard Stern show that we have
I'd probably
to
be
fill
the
in
Artie.
for.
I'd take the Artie chair. I did that a few times,
So did I.
Yeah. I did it back after Jackie left. That was, to me, that was like when Jackie left the Howard Stern show. I was like, what? How
Yeah,
can
I
they
sat
break
in
up? How can they
auditioning
break
for the
up?
Artie chair,
Yeah.
knowing that even if I got it, it would be a coin flip, or it would be a hard decision. If they offered me the job, would I live in New York City to take that job?
Yeah, I've never been really
And
interested
even back
in living
then,
in
I
New
would
York.
go, fuck no.
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 I think New York is good for two things. It's good for doing short comedy sets, and it's good for playing pool. There's a lot of pool halls in New York City. You get to hop around, and go to good places, and
Yeah,
find
I
good
forget you're a
players.
shark.
I'm not a shark. I'm terrible. I'm terrible now, man. I played last night. It was embarrassing. I just don't have a table here, so I'm all out of.
I could never play on a legit big table. Bar tables, quarter tables.
Those are
on
fun.
acid. I had my best pool games ever.
Makes sense. You more in tune with
see the
what's
angles.
going on.
Yeah. All right,
They
that
used-
was the dumb
They used
question.
to the guys who used to gamble a lot used to take. I think they called them black beauties. I believe. Look up what
Speed.
it is. Speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Some kind of amphetamines, and they would gamble for like 16, 17 hours in a row, and they would all do like the best pool players from the day in the 70s were all speed freaks, and there was one of them. The guy's named Buddy Hall. And Buddy Hall wrote a book. It's a crazy book because it's so obviously it's him and his friend Woody. They wrote Woody wrote it down, and I have a copy of it. But it's a rare book. Like you have to buy a used copy of it. And this book is basically about his gambling days when he's this young kid in Kentucky. They called him the Rifleman, and he would just get fired up on speed and play people like $10,000 and fucking just never miss. He was like this legendary guy. Like Buddy Hall's like one of the best pool players of all time. But like in his day, it wasn't just that he was a great pool player. He's a gambler and like a stone cold killer. Like you would bring in guys from the Philippines and they would have fucking backers and piles of cash.
It's like every which way
Yeah.
but loose.
But it was legit, and
Yeah,
they would
fucking
go to play the
Philo Beto.
Rifleman. Yeah, they would bring him for big money games, and he just would hold up. He would win. He would beat everybody, and he was doing it. A lot of these games, these guys were all speeded up, and apparently, I've never done amphetamines like that. But if they say that when you're playing pool and you're on speed, not only can you stay awake, but you see things like super sharp and clear. You see the angles.
Yeah.
It's like it's all mapped out for you.
Yeah, acid. This was a come down of acid, which is
Yeah.
different than peaking, where fucking the felt wasn't breathing.
Yeah.
This is when you're coming down.
You got to
Like,
see what this
fuck.
dude looks like. Pull up
Pull
a
up Buddy
photo
Hall.
of Buddy Hall from the 1970s. That's what you want to see. You want to see bell-bottom Buddy Hall when he was real thin, because he got real big as he got older. When he got off the speed and was, but you know, they all did it. That was the thing that players all did, and he talked about it in his book, and they've talked about it in other books too that would talk about pool. These guys that would gamble for hours and hours at a time, they would all do it on speed. That's him. That was him back in the day. Go to that picture above it though. That was a little later in his life.
Oh yeah, I want
That one
color
right there.
pictures
That one
of
right
the
there.
suits.
That's him when he's young, and that's Earl Strickland, who's another one of the greatest players of all time. And that's probably from the early '80s, if I had to guess. That guy to the left, that one with no beard, right there, the lower corner, that's Buddy Hall. That's Buddy Hall when he was
Jay Leno?
in his prime. That's Buddy Hall when he was in his prime, and they would bring him around to places, and you know, guys would seek him out to play him. But like he did this for decades and decades.
Billiards is kind of like bowling, where if you get too good at it, it sucks. Like this guy's gonna run the table or maybe miss one shot.
Sort
this guy's
of.
either gonna get a strike or a spare.
Yeah, but bowling, you're seeing the same thing every time. You're seeing variations once you knock one pin or another, but it's basically like a break shot over and over and over again. The complexity of pool is so much more interesting to me because there's so many options. Every game is different, and it's all
play,
about
but
getting
to watch.
angles to. Yeah, but it's like
If
the
you
only
know the
reason
game.
if you know the game and you're watching a guy like Buddy Hall play, it's art form. It's an art. Like he's known for being like this slow, smooth player. Like he never does anything like erratic. Everything is perfect cue ball control. It's just so much precision that if you're a person who plays and you know how hard it is to do what he's doing, it's an art form.
Tracy, Chaley's Tracy, she is a hockey fanatic. So when football would end and hockey would start, it's just the same dudes that there's no football anymore.
Right.
And she'd put on hockey. I don't get it. It's just really fast. You think it's all luck. And she would have to explain the rules. Like it's a bunch of dudes that are sad without football. And here's this chick that's like, no, well, this is what icing means. And this is what offsides is. And this is high stick. And then I still never appreciated it till she made me watch the All-Star game where they do this skills competition. And then it's like fucking Harlem Globetrotters. Guys are bouncing, dribbling a puck on top of their stick, and then fucking whipping it under their legs and fucking hitting coffee cups out of fucking cutouts and like, oh, it's not all luck. There is skill involved in
Oh,
this.
there's super skill. Hockey's fun to watch.
But if you don't know the skill, a lot of that's wasted. If you don't know the game, a lot of that's wasted.
You know what they did with hockey that's really smart? They put that circle over the puck. So when you're watching it on TV...
That's like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but that's as many times as I watch hockey.
I know. I
I've
just
watched
love
like
it when
3
you're
times.
as fucking dated as I am, even though you're a kid.
Did I tell you that I watched, used to help train Bobby Orr? I used to work at the Boston Athletic Club. And when I was 19, I was teach people to lift weights and stuff like that. I was a trainer. And I used to help Bobby Orr get onto the Versa Climber. Because he had so many knee surgeries. It was the craziest shit you've ever seen. Like his knees, both sides of his knees were just covered in scars.
Yeah,
and they
people
were
have
these
no
old.
idea what fucking
Oh.
athletes go through. Why are they getting paid more than our teachers? Because they fucking die early.
Yeah, and his surgeries that he went through. I mean, we're talking a long ass time ago when they opened you up like a fish and stitched shit together and it all blew apart. They didn't
And
know
you
how
had
to
to
make
bite
it.
on a ruler.
Fuck,
and
dude.
Sawed your leg off. Oh wait, that's a Civil War.
His leg, no, it was a little different than that. His legs they don't extend. They don't fully lock out. They're always like partially bent, and there was a range of motion of just like a few degrees. He couldn't like really get up onto the machine, so you had to kind of help him. Like he had to put like one leg up and then the other leg up. Couldn't be a nicer guy. Super nice guy, and you almost couldn't believe it was really Bobby Orr. I remember I swore around him once. Someone said something, and I was like, get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. And then Bobby Orr was like, oh, look at the language these kids today are using. And I remember being so embarrassed. Like, oh, my God. I swore around Bobby Orr. What a piece of shit I am. That was back when I was convinced I was a piece of shit, too.
Can I go back to my next question? The
Oh,
first
you
one
you
sucked.
really want to go through those? Okay.
No. The next question was, and I put this on Twitter as a poll, but I really thought it was an interesting question for you. Would you rather be the first person to take an untested vaccine or the first person to ride in the back seat on the freeway of an driverless car?
Oh, I'll take the driverless car all day.
You'd be the first person to
Yeah.
do that? Oh, fuck.
Well, an untested vaccine? I don't want to be there to
or-
test it. See, 'cause
Untested, but it's an
some of them,
untested
they
driverless
abandon.
car.
I understand that.
Would you be?
I would imagine the driverless car. There's more.
You're on the freeway.
More examination of the possibilities. Like they kind of like have the camera situation set up. Have you ever driven in a driverless car? Have you ever driven in a Tesla when it does
That's
it?
what
It's
made
pretty
me
amazing.
think of this. Is you have a Tesla, and I thought
What I'm getting
maybe
out of this
one
is-
perk is maybe you give me a ride around the block.
You're hanging out
driverless.
with Bert Kreischer too much, and you're trying to turn this into a fucking game show. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't
Well,
like
then
your
we could
questions.
just skip it.
I don't know. Maybe I would do the
I
car
wrote it
thing.
down, so I thought I'd say it.
I'd do the car thing, or if I was talking to the scientist that made the vaccine, if they had some
Well, I'll
reasonable
put my notes away.
explanation.
Thank you very much.
It would have to be like, this is why we know this vaccine's safe. And we don't have to worry about it at all. You can pull your notes out. I'm just kidding.
I can't even read them. I don't have my readers on.
I'll use my readers.
Oh no, I
What
have,
is
I
your-
have, I have mine right here.
Oh.
I brought the orange
Ooh, I
tinted
like
ones.
those.
And
Those are fresh.
well, they also hide the bags under your eyes a little bit, the same way I love the mask, because I have crow's feet. When I wear the mask in a supermarket, crow's feet let people know that I'm smiling without having to see my ugly yellow teeth. Oh. And I use these, and I brought them forgetting, it's been a year. This isn't Zoom. I don't need reading glasses.
What we need is like a thing on your mask where you can hit a button and it makes like a Cheshire cat grin, like it pops up in LEDs. So
I
people
did
know when
buy
you're
a bunch of
smiling.
this stupid like novelty masks.
Yeah.
Where I have a beard and a stupid missing tooth or whatever. I didn't even go to a fucking
Do you want me to read
supermarket.
those?
No, I'm just seeing if any of them are any good.
But you're doing this
fucking
thing.
yeah,
This stretch.
yeah. That's a fucking. That's a pod. In Bisbee.
Yeah.
Michael Bean lives there now.
Who's Michael Bean?
Exactly. You know who he is. He was. I can never remember. He was the original, the guy in the first Terminator that comes back. He's
yeah.
in the Abyss. He's in Aliens 2.
I think he was in the second Terminator, right? He was in the one
No,
where he
he's
was
the
a cop.
first Terminator, second Aliens,
Oh, okay.
and the Abyss, where he swears, I wasn't a bad guy in that. Nah, you kind of were. Everyone sees you like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to start a podcast.
You and that
I'll
dude.
tell you the premise afterwards.
Let's go back to we
right.
were talking about this before you left to pee. Whether you would hang out with Bukowski or Hunter S. Thompson. Yeah. Both would be great. Be a different thing.
But day drinking is as a veteran drunk. There is a difference between day drinking, where today I'm day drinking.
Right.
I don't want to go fucking do shit with you. I don't want to go,
Yeah. You just want
MMA
to
it up.
lounge.
Yeah, I don't want to go out with Hunter and fucking blow shit up. That's a nighttime.
I don't think he always did that though. If you look at his whatever routine that they documented that was famous for being a ridiculous list that you could read online of all the different shit that he did during the day. And then who turned that into a song? Fitzsimmons and I were reading the list, and yeah,
but as he looks that up,
it's mostly
because I'll go back to the Howard Stern thing. Would you fire Jamie to get Fred Norris?
no.
I'm being silly. And it's gonna get worse as I drink and turn into Hunter S.
He was mostly what he was doing was coke and drinking all day long. Like he just hung out, and did coke and drank, and then wait till
never
like
done
6
coke.
o'clock in the afternoon, and then he would start writing.
You've never done coke.
No.
Like the last thing you want with a day drinker is someone who talks a lot. You
right.
fucking slouch with your seahorse posture, and you look at the other guy and you go, "This thing on TV, fuck these people." Like that would be Bukowski. Okay,
Right.
I could tolerate that, but if I waited till 9 o'clock to drink, oh, okay, Hunter S is gonna fucking light this shit up.
I wonder what he really was doing during the days. I mean, how much of it is just folklore and mythology? Because it's fun. It's a fun mythology.
I remember reading Stedman's biography of life with Hunter S. Where
what did he say?
He kind of confirmed a lot of the shit.
That he really did live like that?
Yeah, and it was not necessarily a positive.
No.
You brought this up earlier about
There it is.
comedians.
Yeah.
I don't have that constitution. Like I'm a one drunk. Like everything I do in my career, if it's a show, that's why I only do one show a night, because I drink the perfect amount to have a confident show. You do a million things a day. Imagine if you had to blow a load for all of your projects. Okay, I'm going to do 2 podcasts, then I'm going to go do fucking 30 minutes at the Comedy Store, and then I'm going to
Right.
fly to... But imagine if you had to fucking actually ejaculate at everything you do during a day. I'm good for 1 load a day, so I'm a 1 drunk a day person. I'm not leaving here to go do sets at a place. I forget my point as you stare at me awkwardly.
Just wait for you to finish.
Well, I was waiting for you to say, yeah, I couldn't do that. But the
No,
look you gave
why
me
would
is
you-
like, I could blow 4 loads a day.
No. That's the last 4 would be sad.
Exactly.
The last 3.
I've
it's
done-
it's also like there's an art form to doing less. You know, like there's definitely something to be said for having less things that are. I would like to live multiple lives simultaneously, so I could just pursue my individual interests in each one of those lives, and just singularly not think about business stuff. Just think about one thing that I like to do or one thing, and just live like that. Because there's a real, it's a really attractive to me. People that just get dedicated to, whether it's painting or just making music, whatever it is. Just you got one thing that you're dedicated to. I think there's something very interesting about that to me. But
I don't even have the attention span for a lap dance, and I can't remember the last time I was even in a titty bar, but someone would buy you a lap dance, like Don King. I don't know if he's still around here, the titty bar king of Austin. He would like, yeah, after your Austin show, we'll bring you to the fucking Yellow Rose, or he flip-flopped between the titty bars. I'll buy you a lap dance. I don't have the attention span. Like, I don't know how to react to the girl. Like, I'm too old to go, ooh, you're so hot. I'm looking at the other dancers, and that's in a 3-minute song. So your attention span, I don't know how you're so well adjusted to, I mean, you do drink. You fucking smoke weed all the time, and you still persevere professionally. You're baffling to me.
yeah, I just do what I do. I don't know. Doesn't seem that hard to me. I know people that do really hard things, so it's not that hard in comparison.
It's also baffling to me.
Yeah.
You told me I was fucking, before you even moved here, you said, hey, I'm moving to Austin. If I fly you out, will you do my podcast? And I said, no, but I'll drive out. And you go, you drive that far? You're fucking crazy. I go, no.
I don't think I said it like that.
Yeah, you did. I know, because it made me feel powerful. Like, oh, Joe Rogan wouldn't drive fucking
I would
2
drive
days?
that. It's boring. I find it boring. I don't like to be in a car for 16 hours. I got too much.
That's my special place.
But I get it. I get it that it's a lot of people enjoy it, man. They like long road trips and listening to books on tape and chilling and just thinking. A lot of people really enjoy it.
Again, west of the 35 corridor. You get me fucking... I went through Fredericksburg on the 290. I went that way because I have a growing vertigo problem behind the wheel. And what do they call them? Like clover leaves or the connectors?
Oh, those things freak you out?
Like to a point where my arms, well, you know when you lift a weight, you would know. You lift a weight to a point where... Like if you pick up a coffee cup afterwards, you don't know if you're going to smash it or drop it.
Right.
I get like that with vertigo, where I go, I can't.
Really?
Like, yeah, I can't.
What does it do to you? Like other than make you shake? What is it? What's going on in your head when you?
It's again, I don't understand cause and effect. I don't know what's creating that fear, but I'm my lucid dreaming has become so. Yeah, where I you know that feeling where in a dream where you're in a high precipice and you think you're going to fall.
Right.
Now in a dream, I can jump off of it. I know, oh, I'm in a dream. I'm jumping. I'm going to float or fly or sink slowly and safely to the ground. I get the same feeling in real life on a high. We were crossing the Mississippi once and I was behind the wheel. And I started to have this panic attack, and fucking Chaley's editing in the passenger seat. And I'm like, take the wheel. I'm freaking out a bit. So now, like, I need to be a fucking regular dosage of Xanax.
Well, hold on. Before you get into that, let me take you back to the lucid dreaming thing. Like, when did that start?
Over the years, I fucking sleep.
Recently.
Well, no, over
5
many
years?
years.
Like how many years?
It's getting better all the time.
You're better at lucid dreaming than you were before. Was it a?
I had to come out this morning. I took a Seroquel, which I try not to take.
What's that?
It's a very powerful antipsychotic that it's probably bad for your liver.
Why are you taking an antipsychotic?
Because I fucking sleep. I can sleep like 14 hours. I'll get up to piss, go like lucidly out of the dream, remembering the dream, and go back, hang on, I have to piss. Just like I pissed here on the podcast, I can get up out of a dream, say, please hold dream, piss lucidly. I'm not in a closet like Sean Rouse.
So Seroquel
and go
does
back
that for you?
Yeah, and that's why I use it very sparingly.
Jesus Christ, that sounds amazing.
It's fucking the best. Like,
What else does it do, though? What's the bad
problem
parts?
is you cannot share dreams with people. I know it's a hack premise,
Mm.
but where I woke up this morning, I went to bed after fucking Red Band finally called me and told me, oh, yeah, I prompted Joe Rogan to finally respond to you. What time am I going to be? I didn't know what time I'm supposed to be here. He told me the address.
I think you were texting the wrong number.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, fuck.
No, with me.
Do,
me.
Do you want to, if you want to put a $500,000 bet, I'll use your $500,000 as a down payment on that fucking Comedian Grove.
That's Comedian Grove.
I'll show you the texts.
What we were just saying something, though.
Yeah, about lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreams. So
But I was in such a state when I woke up this morning from dreams where, you know, the dream where you wake up and go, oh, fucking thank God everything was going
right, but
poorly.
this is what I want to know. Did the lucid dreams start independently of this Seroquel stuff?
Oh,
or did they start
yeah,
with
no,
it?
since I was a kid.
Oh, you've always had lucid dreams.
I remember when I was probably an early teenager, the first time that I could correlate that stomach drop feeling of when you're about to fall off of something, but you could fly.
Yeah.
Like, do you have flying dreams?
Sometimes. Yeah.
But those have grown where, okay, now I can fly. Now I know I'm in a dream. I can kind of control it. I know what's going on, and I can wake up and piss and go back to bed and get right back into the same dream.
Did you read books about this? Is this
No.
something that you just figured out as you were doing it, as you were having these lucid dreams?
Yeah, but the same problem that everyone who has dreams, you can't quite remember it, but the feeling, the stomach drop feeling, I'm floating, things
Right.
that connect your brain back to, okay, I know I'm in a dream, but I'm not going to wake up. Let's fuck with this.
But you got better over the years just by having lucid dreams over and over again and realizing what's the thing that you do that gets you out of the dream. Don't do that, and just figured out what to do to stay in that
Because
state.
sometimes you wake up, or sometimes you're only alerted to the fact that you're dreaming because you hit bap, bap, bap. Oh, I get a text message. Okay, reality's on the outside. It's fucking me up. Shut off your phone before you go to bed.
But the Seroquel is more
It just-
extreme. It's
But
bigger
it makes
than.
you sleep longer? I don't know. I don't know the science behind it.
But is a Seroquel making you have more lucid dreams or better control of your lucid dreams?
It's making me sleep longer and making me more aware that I'm in a dream. I don't know. I
'Cause if
know
it was a-
Seroquel dreams. I fucking lived an entire these altered states where I woke up and I'm like, is there still a receipt in my pocket from that dream that I can prove there's two different worlds? It was that fucked up, but you can't explain that to people. I wanted to call anyone. I woke up and I was like, it was just a dream.
There's a movie about recording dreams that was pretty fucking good that I saw the other night. I think it's called Come True, and it's about, apparently there is some technology that they're working on right now where they can record certain aspects of your thoughts. Like if you're thinking about a triangle, it'll show an image of a triangle. And they think,
I read something about it.
yeah, they think they're going to get to the point where they're going to be able to get at least some sort of a reasonable facsimile of the visuals that you're having in your dreams.
Oh my God, wouldn't that fuck with cancel culture?
Yeah.
If you could go, oh, hey, what were you thinking about when you heard this?
Yeah. Well, that's what's really going to fuck cancel culture is when we get mind reading software. When we get Neuralink and mind reading software, and people are going to recognize intent. That's going to be a thing. Whether it's 50 years from now or 100 years from now, they're going to be able to figure out when you're just being a cunt, when you're really trying to change the world and make it for the better, or whether you want people to think better of you.
And in the meantime, all it takes is a few dedicated PIs to follow around. What's that cunt from fucking TMZ? The guy that,
Yeah, all of them.
until you can read his thoughts, go through his trash, fucking follow him like Scientologists do, and find out what dirt do we have on you. Hey, I'm canceling TMZ because they went through my trash and found a few text messages that were printed. All right. You
I know what you're saying. We're going to be able to read each other's intentions for sure. Maybe not within our lifetime, but in time. They're getting closer and closer to figuring out what's going on in your head during all sorts of different things during anger, during passion, during love, during hate, during jealousy.
Intent is everything.
Yeah.
Like,
They're going to be able. Well, that's the thing. It's going to kill comedy. You know, mind
What?
reading software is
Intent?
going to destroy comedy.
oh.
All that mind reading
wouldn't-
software.
It would save me if I were even cancelable.
Yeah.
Like my intent is always, well, sometimes but in my comedy, my intent is always positive, and
Yeah.
I sleep good at night knowing that.
Yeah, your intent is always positive and to get laughs. And this is the weird thing about cancel culture and comedy is that they exist. They exist simultaneously at the same time. Like comedy is like the things you're saying. You're saying inappropriate things most of the time. Things that would get you fired from almost every other occupation, and it's part of the occupation.
But how did they figure out how to split comedy into wings? Like if there were as many
Genres.
genres of how there's like 18 kind of gender / sexualities now, but if you're only two wings, like he's left wing, he's right wing.
So stupid.
Like fucking legions of skanks is this right wing culture. Well, no, I'm not a wing. I've never been political. I'm pragmatic. I have fucking opinions about stuff, and we both agree that we don't know shit about what we're talking about half the time.
I'm all over the place with my leanings,
Unless
but it's
I take
almost
a 22-second clip and make it viral, then you're a fucking.
Then I'm a right wing lunatic.
I was
it's,
fixating on you this morning. Where sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What?
That like when I see comics that I know and respect, and when I say I know them, comedians pretty much know each other. I don't know them personally, but when they take pot shots at you on fucking Twitter, usually comics, like when Dane Cook, well, people are jealous of my fame. People are jealous of a dollar amount that you made on fucking Spotify. I think most of those comics are considering, if I had this reach, if I could influence people, I would do it different than what Joe Rogan's doing. And they think you're different. No, you're just a fucking dumbard like me that has a podcast that somehow went fucking huge, with due respect to your effort. But you're not trying to you're doing nothing different than you were doing 10 years ago when
Exactly.
you started
The
this.
idea is that since you influence people, you should change what you're doing. Because
I think
what you're doing
a
is
lot of
influential.
comics say, well, if I had that much
you're-
reach, I would steer people in a different
For
direction.
sure, there's jealousy involved. There's always jealousy involved with comedians. So many comedians are narcissists that anytime anyone's doing well, they get upset. I've experienced it personally myself. I used to feel that way when I was younger. I've talked about it openly. I would see people being successful, and I would want them to fail because it would make me feel better. I'd want.
But I don't think that's the case
But there's
with
a
you.
part. But there's a part of it. There's a part of it when people are successful that other people want to shit on them. There's also a thing where the idea that you have a certain amount of reach, and because of that reach, you have a certain amount of responsibility. You have a responsibility to be yourself. The problem is if you only lean into that responsibility and you think of it as this thing that you must do because you have a civic duty to spread this kind of information or that kind of information, then you can't be yourself anymore. Then you can't just be whoever the fuck you are. You just you have to be this thing that they think is like more acceptable. And I think that's nonsense. That's
I
nonsense.
think you just stopped yourself from saying retarded.
I was thinking of a better word.
Exactly.
Retarded. I'm not against saying it, but it's not the right word at the
Right.
time. It's like there's an inclination to tell other people what they should and shouldn't do, and I think it's part of the problem with social media is that you can impact people. You can get people to say things and not say things. You can. You really can do it.
And
You can
there's-
get regular people to put their fucking gender pronouns on their bio. Like regular folks that you've known forever, the normal, and all of a sudden it says he, him. Like, really, Bob? He, him? Like, no one knows?
Oh,
Like, what kind of game are we playing?
There's an argument for that. That you don't want to be the old guy that's saying the fucking.
Yeah, you don't want to be Archie Bunker.
Yeah, but Exactly.
There is, but there's also there's a forced compliance to this culture. That's the problem with it. It's a bunch of assholes that are trying to tell other people what to do because they get a kick out of it. It's just like the same people that want to yell at you when you're across the street to put your mask on. You're like, listen, it has nothing to do with you. Like, just stop. There's too much of this going on. There's too much of people wanting to tell people what to do, you know. And because of social media, they have this ability to interact with people. And one of the things that people like to do is they like telling people what to do. They like criticizing people. They like shitting on them. They like being mean. It's just a weird thing. It's part of human nature.
Yeah, and it's rapid cycling to the point where you can't really keep up.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't keep up. Just be yourself. You know, Bill Burr had a great response to this kind of shit on Bill Maher show. It was like, cool, 200 fucking people on Twitter. He's like, I don't read that. I'm not listening to that. They were talking to him about, you know, like people getting upset at his bits and stuff like that. Yeah.
You did that to me when you moved here. I go, if I was a new comic, you are the equivalent to Carson right now, where you have that much reach. If I were a new comic and I was doing the Joe Rogan show, I would be nervous for every other reason than I was nervous today, which is I haven't been out in the real world in a year.
Right.
Like, if I was a new comic, I'd be shitting my pants, but it's that frog in boiling water kind of, I'm doing Rogan. Like, your nurse here that gave me this swab to make sure that I'm fucking cancer-free or whatever.
COVID-free.
Yeah, she's like, what are you here to talk about? I go, you don't
I have to
talk to Rogan about stuff. Rogan talks to you and you answer and you fucking wait your turn.
Yeah, I'll have to tell her to stop doing that.
What?
I want a pre-interview.
She was making light.
Yeah, but that's a problem. If you start thinking about what you're actually going to say.
Oh, I've been doing that since Sunday, you fucking asshole. That poor prick at the guy that said I'm a big fan at the fucking Motel Kitzmiller in Fredericksburg.
That you were worried was going to kill you.
I'm a big fan. I wanted to talk to him about all the things I've been thinking for 650 miles. I asked, hey, if you want a cocktail, I'm making cocktails in room 8.
Did you say that to him?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I said, and that's when I called Chaley and I go, let me do a Zoom podcast right now because my head is so fertile. And Chaley said 3 words for an hour and 12 minutes while I just spouted off a million things I've been thinking on the road. But you have to understand, in a year, I probably wrote down 7 or 8 premises in a notebook in a year because fucking comedy for me. That's why I was not engaged. I did not enter into any Twitter battles with anyone about anything that's going on or fucking can't. Because if I don't have a stage to perform it on, it's useless information. It's just going to make me pent up and angry.
Yeah, but you do it on the podcast, though. You do talk about stuff on your podcast.
But I'm talking to people who also don't give a fuck. Like,
what do you mean?
Like Chaley and Chad Shank, we're just sitting around for a year.
They don't give a fuck? What do you mean?
About the outside world.
Oh, okay.
Like, the outside world is for business purposes only. If I have an opinion about something that really doesn't affect my day-to-day, why get angry about something I'm just going to yell at my wife about?
So the inside world is BizB, and the outside world is just for business purposes. So you have home base.
Pretty much.
That's a good way to handle it. Home base.
I'm not having this argument at Safeway. By the way, I don't know where the camera is. I brought Signature brand cola, Safeway. If you want to shop for groceries, go to Safeway. Buy off-brand. I don't have any
sponsors. Is it just as good?
I don't fucking know. I just mix it with whiskey. I'm looking for a whiskey sponsor that says, our whiskey's so good, you don't need Safeway brand off-brand cola. Maybe you should catch up with drinking. I
don't
feel
think
like
they're
I'm the
gonna.
Stupid one.
I don't think they're gonna approve that for a marketing campaign.
Yeah, Safeway.
I would have loved to have gotten a hold of. I was gonna say the Coca-Cola that used to have cocaine in it.
Oh,
that stuff must have been amazing. Imagine what it was like back then when people didn't know that like getting coked up all the time was bad for you.
Depp has some in his basement.
I bet he does. Oh my god, I bet he's got like a wine cellar of it. But it seems like a kind of thing that would. I wonder what culture was like back then when a lot of people were doing coke. It's probably really weird, right?
Did you ever see Ollie Joe Prater?
I never saw him live.
I just there's a 6-episode 10-minute series, 10-minute YouTube segments. Sam Tallent's the one that hit me to that. The guy that wrote that book,
shit.
Running the Light, and he's just this cokehead. He's only like 5'1", and he's doing like.
But he's
really
like 5'1"
shit.
wide too. He's like built
300 and something pounds.
He there was always a photo of him at the store of him climbing out of the limo. He was like climbing out of the Comedy Store limo, and he's like literally like you can't even imagine he can get through the doorway, and he's holding the door open, and he's got like a big smile on his face.
The urban legend that I attributed to John Fox, who was kind of his predecessor of "Don't Eat the Mayonnaise in the Condo." Where his nose starts fucking dripping blood during a set, spilling onto his shirt, and the audience is aghast, and he doesn't know why, and he keeps plowing through his just
That's
80s
hilarious.
cocaine comedy, and which was
hilarious.
edgy at the time, and then he realizes what happens, and he looks at himself, and he looks at the blood on his fingers, and goes, "What? Nobody parties anymore?"
John Fox was a hard partier. I forgot about that guy.
Oh, he was the worst. He was the guy that did the same act for fucking like 40 years. Archibald Marisol. Two firemen are butt fucking in a smoke-filled room. Chief walks in and goes, "How'd this shit get started?" No, he give him mouth to mouth. He goes, "How do you think this shit got started?" But I worked with him once when I was a kid in Reno. And I said, I said, "Didn't you have the nosebleed?" He goes, "That's Ollie Joe Prater. Why are you fucking putting that shit on me?" I'm like, "You kind of fit the bill." And when I did Bill Burr's podcast once, coked out of my head after partying with Manson, he goes, "Yeah, you're like the new John Fox where you don't." I go, "I have that reputation. Am I the new John Fox?" Still kills me.
No, you turn over material much quicker.
I get sick of it way quicker.
I never saw that guy. I think I've only seen him live once or twice. I saw him at the Laugh Factory, I believe. It's John Fox.
Oh.
Yeah. There's those
Fucking
guys that do
relics.
that road, man. Oh, especially during the 80s. Like those guys, that was like the first road. I think like legitimately the road popped up during the comedy boom in the early 80s because that's when clubs started showing up all over the place, and that was like the oversaturation of stand-up. What year did you start? 89?
90.
90. In 84, apparently, was like the roaring heyday of Boston. And there was all these clubs around Boston. But it's also when I think they started popping up all around the country. Like the comedy club world is a pretty recent world.
Well, there's the road, like Kansas City, let's say, St.
Right.
Louis, Chicago.
Yeah.
But then the road I started was like Tribble gigs.
Right.
Billings, Montana.
Yeah.
Like the smallest of towns where they have comedy. But it was huge still. Like a Tuesday night in Missoula was packed to the gills because there was no, cell phone.
But you did those gigs at the same time when those comedy clubs existed in all these cities as well.
hoping to get into one of those.
Yeah. But my point is, before that time, those comedy clubs did not exist in those cities.
No.
So if you went back to the 1970s, there was nothing. Like, and if you go to the 1960s, these guys were doing variety shows, like the old Lenny Bruce tapes, where he would be a host of a variety show. He'd bring up a band, and there would be a dancer and a musician, and
Burlesque,
yeah,
basically.
it was burlesque. Yeah, he was
latter day Catskills. Or
similar kind of stuff, So like
vaudeville,
those guys,
that's the word I was looking for. Latter day vaudeville.
So those guys like Fox and all those road dogs, like that was a new world. That world was a new thing. Like it didn't exist before, and all of a
you
sudden
could do the same act over and over again for decades because
nobody watched your show.
There's no YouTube.
Yeah, and if you were there was good road comics. There was like comics that were like good, solid comics that only did the road, and they would go to a different town all the time, and no one knew their act. They'd never seen them on television. They could crush.
Who are acts that you could watch the same set? Like Junior Stopka comes to mind. I'll bring Junior Stopka and play the hits. Fucking
Well, Brody was
Hedberg.
always Brody. We always used to yell out to Brody. I heard you were a model. He was like, I was a model in Serbia, and he would do this.
I fought in the Iraq War. I was an Iraqi soldier.
That's neither here nor there.
But like Hedberg,
Yes,
we went down a
yes.
Hedberg fucking rabbit hole the other day, just laughing our asses
For sure,
off.
him. Well, you know, where I started out in Boston, that was what you would see these headliners do the same act over and over and over again. Most of them didn't do television, or if they did, it was like little clips on Evening at the Improv, like little quick 15 minutes or something like that. But they all had murderous acts that you could watch over and over again. Like I could watch Steve Sweeney 100 times in a row, and it was the same. It was the same act. You didn't care. Like you wanted to laugh at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like people would go to see him knowing he was going to do the same act, but it was so good.
I remember, I don't know if you knew me when I did the jizz in the face
Oh,
thing.
yeah. With the beer.
When I finally stopped doing that, people were like, you didn't do the jizz in the face. But that's when I was starting to get a voice.
Yeah.
I don't even know if my voice is my own anymore. Like I've written books and I go, I'm mimicking a writer. I think I'm mimicking being a comic to this day. I saw what one was. I mimicked it poorly until I got to a place where I could mimic my own voice. But I don't know if I've ever had, like, we know real funny people.
Yeah.
That you want to, Joey Diaz, obviously.
But dude, I think you've got a thing. I think you got imposter syndrome. I think it's a lot of great artists have it. And what it is like, it's one of the things that keeps you good. Because one of the things that fucks you is if you start taking yourself really seriously and you think your work is important or you think your work is great.
I went through that.
Anybody can go through that. And that fucks you harder than anything in this goddamn business. And so one of the best ways to avoid that was always think you're a fraud. It's like, so your brain's protecting you. That's imposter syndrome. And it usually means you're conscientious.
Dave Attell is definitely
he's
the worst.
The worst at it. Yeah.
Because he hates
he's so
himself.
brilliant.
He's so meticulous about,
Yes.
I don't want that out there. It's not as funny as the happen.
Right.
He's a legitimately funny guy, and that self-hatred keeps him producing.
Yes. Which is attractive.
Yeah.
The opposite is very unattractive. When you see someone like the opposite is someone who has an inflated sense of their ability, and then they're not really that good. That's the opposite, right? That's so unattractive. Whereas the Attell thing is, you're like, Jesus Christ, dude, you're one of the best comics that's ever lived. How could you not? But you go,
I
okay,
won't release that special because
Yeah.
it's.
Oh my god.
But it's so much funnier.
Yeah.
Again, the opposite is, well, the people, you know, the cliche with Joey, and there's other people I could name that I can't think of, where he could read a phone book and it would be funny.
Right.
If you and I read a phone book, at best you'd memorize the phone numbers.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that funny.
We're writers.
No.
I won't put you in this. I'm a writer that makes it sound like it's off the top of my head.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, I think we all are in a way. But every comic, I mean, when you're saying like you're a writer imitating a writer, but you know, like when Hunter S. Thompson used to write, one of the things he did when he was younger, he'd write The Great Gatsby over and over and over again. He'd just write it out word for word, just to get an understanding of the beats and the way, you know, F. Scott Fitzgerald, right? Who wrote that? The way he would write out the prose, and that's how he learned how to do it. And we all learned how to do comedy by watching other comedians, and you learn how to write by reading other writers.
I purposely tried to not sound like Dice Clay when I started open mics, and then that's why I think I had that weird affectation. Don't fucking put it up, Jamie. But there's me 6 months into comedy.
Online?
It's on YouTube.
Oh boy!
And I'm like, even my first evening at the Improv, which is like a year into comedy, when they had a fallout, I talk fucking
Talking
weird.
some weird
I have
affectation.
no idea but I remember I don't want to sound like Dice Clay because he's the reason I got into comedy.
Right. Is it weird when you hang out with that guy? Does it weird you out still?
Who? Dice Clay?
Yeah.
No, I've only met him like 2 times.
Oh, really? You've never hung out with him at the store?
Fuck no.
Oh, no. I'd love to
one
have you
time
hang out with him.
He followed me at the store in the OR when I was just got past, and he went, "Nice try," like I was trying to be him, and that's long after I was out of my like "Don't be Dice Clay" phase, and the second time was on Opie and Anthony, where he came in and fucking like no one in my career has had that presence of a Kinnison or Dice where he just came in and took over the fucking room. Like literally, and they're like, Dice is going to smoke. He walked in and lit up a cigarette long after it's completely illegal to smoke anywhere in the fucking world except in a field. And they're like, Dice is going to smoke. We're going to get in trouble. And he's like, fucking, you're funny. I saw your special. And then I started to tell him about how he was the influence. He goes, I already told you you're funny. You can stop talking now. And smoke, like just this, like that old fucking late 80s vibe of fuck everything. I'm going to come in here, Kinnison, coked up on Stern. Like no one has that ever since.
No, he was a different thing.
Well, rocking.
He's a fun guy to hang around with too. Like Dice is a fun guy to be around. Like when you're hanging around with him at the store, he's very friendly to comics. Like
when I was an open micer in Vegas, he came and he's playing some show, and we're drunk after an open mic, and we go, oh, Dice is at this whatever casino, and we went in, and he was in a lounge area, VIP, with his bodyguards. And I go, I'm going to give one of my jokes to Andrew Dice Clay. And I walked up, and I'm like, I just want to give him one of my jokes. Just like crazy person out front of your place or crazy guy that comes to my house. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, fuck Dice Clay. This was a great joke.
Wow.
It's important when you know the douchebag that you used to be, you have empathy for the douchebag that's now trying to email me a joke.
I listened to Dice Clay with a girlfriend of mine when we were 19, sitting in my car, laughed my ass off. I'll never forget it.
My ass off. I'm with a girl. I'm laughing my ass off.
Well, she was laughing too.
All right.
We were laughing our asses off, I should say. She thought it was hilarious too. It was just... it's always weird, like when you know someone like that, and then all of a sudden you're hanging around with them. Like that was one of the things the store was very strange for me from the very beginning. Like one of the first times I was ever there, I saw Damon Wayans on stage. I was like, Jesus, that's really Damon Wayans,
I'm still like that, where I'm still starstruck. By people that I have to explain who it is, which is what my fan base has to do. Like, hey, people are never going to believe, like I'll drunk dial a fan that emailed me randomly. I had a guy, he just sent me like, I'm so-and-so and I think you're great. But he included his phone number and I was in the mood. So I drunk dialed him. He goes, holy shit. He's somewhere in Arkansas going into a Lowe's. He's like, no one's ever going to believe that you called me. I go, well, no one's going to know who I am. And he told me he was just walking into a Lowe's and I bet him some, small bet. Like, okay, I'll send you this. If you can find one person in that Lowe's who knows who I am, no one's ever going to believe me because they're not going to know who I am. And I made him walk around a Lowe's talking to anyone that would listen. Do you know who Doug Stanhope is? No. I'm failing here. Hang on. There's not a lot of people in here. Yeah, I love my level of fame.
Does that guy call you now all the time?
He did send me, I think I bet him, like, I have a copy of, like, Mad Magazine or something I can send you. I'm like, okay, and I'll send you an autographed thing if you win.
That's cool.
But, yeah, I kind of like that level
Fun
of
for
fame.
him. It's pretty fucking cool for him.
Yeah. Except
It's
you
a
have
cool
no
thing
one to
to do.
share it with, like
That's
dreams.
perfect. But that's perfect.
Yeah.
He's got a memory. It's better than dreams because dreams' memories are weird. You wake up from a dream and it's like, it's slippery. You can't really get a hold of it. It's there and it's gone. It's like, you don't.
But I'm saying you can't share that
Yeah.
experience. His experience of getting a phone call from Doug Stanhope. I had a joke where I said, well, it's not a joke, it's the truth. I'm only famous within 100 feet of my gig for a half hour before and after the gig. Other than that, nobody knows who I am. But I just realized on the drive out here, I also, my job is being famous. So for that hour, on stage and half an hour before and after, I do live in a world of a famous person. So if someone says to me, "You're famous? I've never heard of you." I go, "Well, I don't work for you. I work for my audience, and to my audience, I'm famous." So I do live the same experience. My off time is way easier.
Yeah, makes
Like
sense.
a teacher, I have summers off.
Jamie, pull up that thing that I was asking about, the technology that they're going to use to record dreams, because this is something that they're actively working to try to make a reality. They think they're going
As
to be
you
able
pull
to do
that up, I want to. I'm trying to find my other can of this. Spindrift.
Are
is
you
the best
advertising more booze?
I'm advertising a million things that have nothing to do with me, just things I enjoy.
Okay, Safeway Cola.
Now, I just enjoy Safeway. Safeway was
Why do you
the
enjoy
hardest thing
Safeway?
during COVID because I live in a small town where the only corporate thing there, other than Burger King, which is the worst fast food ever, and I hate them, is Safeway. And I know everybody at Safeway. And the only people I missed during the first 6 months that I did not go out was Susie and Anna and fucking Ricky, all my people at Safeway, the workers there. I fucking put them in the liner notes to, I think, the special. Do you know that you're the producer on my latest special?
Oh, I didn't know. Thank you.
I
just wanted to be a
well,
producer.
yeah,
is this?
it's a text message that I go, "Hey, listen, we recorded it in 2019. It didn't come out till a year later." And I said, "Listen, can I put you as a producer so maybe we get some fucking Netflix leverage on this?"
Oh,
And
yeah,
you go,
that's
"Yeah,
right.
fuck it.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah, I don't
that.
care."
What are you showing me, Jamie?
video's
What's this
not-
video?
I was hoping the video was gonna be better and show something. It's what the device you just asked me. to
Oh,
look
so
up.
it's a legit functional device?
Sort of.
Dormio interfacing with dreams. Make that a little larger so I can read it. No, the thing above it. Yeah. Sleep is a forgotten country of the mind. The vast majority of our technologies are built for the waking state. Even though a third of our lives are asleep, current technological interfaces miss an opportunity to access the unique, imaginative, elastic cognition ongoing during dreams and semi-lucid states. In turn, what is this saying, though? This is a
That's
lot.
That's
This is-
exactly.
This is a little better explanation in this article about this.
Oh, go to the top, please, so I can read the title. The title? Yeah. MIT researchers develop a way to record and even alter dreams. Yeah. That was what I was talking about.
TDI.
So,
There's so much of this stuff that if there was a
whoa, look at this, though. Targeted dream incubation. They can alter your dreams. They can guide the dreams towards particular themes. TDI is a protocol that can be utilized within an app on the wearable sleep tracking device, Dynamo, to record the wearer's dreams. Additionally, it's also possible to guide the dreams towards certain ideas when the wearer is in the process of going to sleep by targeting them with information around the idea repeatedly. Oh, so they put like a panda bear in your head over and over and over again.
I've heard of people being able to practice things like this, and
yeah.
and I don't. It sounded so BS to me. I was like, okay, they can learn guitar while they're sleeping.
Look up.
Is it real?
I'm gonna guess
Apparently.
1978. What year did the Shah of Iran die? Because I remember I would sleep with AM radio on, hoping to hear Air Supply because I was in love with a girl, and I woke up. And my dad said, "Oh, the Shah of Iran died." And I go, "That's so fucked up. I had a dream about it." And then realized later I had slept with AM radio on, so I heard it on the news.
Oh, 79.
Boom!
Look at that. Soon thereafter, the Iranian monarchy was formally abolished.
I didn't have a dream about that.
Well, radio
got-
can only be so detailed.
Well, I also got over that girl, and I stopped roller skating.
Did you think of yourself as John Cusack standing outside of her window holding up the boombox? Remember that scene?
I wish I had. I did. When we were late '90s, there was a million, or middle '90s. I did a bit about that when stalker was first coined a term. And I'm like, but if John Cusack holding the boombox, that's a stalker, but he's cute.
So it's romantic.
Well, it
true.
also comes into play again. Everything, all the bits that you do about like priests molesting kids, and they think it's a new thing every time it's popular in the news. No, that was going on in the early 90s when I started comedy. I remember Becker's bit about at open mic going, yeah, what we have here is failure to excommunicate. And then all of a sudden, priest molestation is a new thing in the 2000s. And then it's a new thing again. Stalker was a thing.
Priest molestation, no, it's always been a thing. Like, everybody knew about it in the 50s
But
and
it's
the 60s.
not
Like,
always in the news.
when did it start being in the news? I mean, there's been a ton of documentaries and news stories. And then the one big one was when the Pope turned out he used to be a bishop that was letting go these guys after they got caught molesting kids, and one of them went on to molest 100 deaf kids. They did a documentary on it. It's dark shit, man. He was involved with a lot of the moving around of those pedophile priests, and that's one of the reasons why there was one point where they said he couldn't leave the Vatican because there were certain parts of the world that wanted to try him with crimes against humanity. So he had to stay there. Like, those guys are like...
But when you hear a comic that's a new comic doing bits like, this is just...
Oh, like they think it's breaking new ground?
Yeah, but
Do
it's
they, though?
not.
Do they, though?
I don't know.
In this day and age? I think it's something
Well,
to talk
in this day
about.
and age, I didn't start in this day and age. There was
Imagine if you
whatever's
did.
in a newspaper, like a physical newspaper. There was not Twitter or what's trending. Now, everything's in the news for about 48 hours at best,
Yeah, and then it flies away.
which is kind of good.
It's kind of good, but it's kind of fascinating to watch just the glut of information being poured down our throats. It's just happening at a pace. You can't keep up with everything. There's just too much going on. When they say that, like, there's more data being created, there's some crazy statistic, like more data being created in a day in 2021 than, like, the last 1,000 years. Like, what is the statistic? It's something really nutty. I know I butchered it.
In the last, just the one that pops up today.
Okay.
In the last 2 years alone, the astonishing 90% of the world's data has been created.
That's insane.
2.5 quintillion bytes of data are produced by humans every day.
That is
such a
insane.
stupid number.
And it keeps accelerating. It's like there's no way you can keep track of all of it, which is good. Which is good. You know?
You can't. In our day, when there was like 3 sitcoms, yeah, you could make a joke about Alice.
Lorena Bobbitt.
Oh yes.
Yeah, remember that one?
Yep.
Yeah, there was Monica Lewinsky jokes. There was
Lorena Bobbitt happened at the same time as because me and Becker were on meth, and we went out in Scottsdale. Hey, try this, Zha Zhang, rejection proof. Do some meth and go out in a median in Scottsdale. Need money to have penis reattached. And cops finally shoot us off. What was the other one at the same time? The 2 biggest hackneyed premises. Anyway.
Remember he did porn? He had his dick reattached and
Yeah,
did porn?
Franken penis or something it was called.
She threw it on the side of the road and the cops found it. Ouch.
At this point, I would be like the fucking COVID vaccine where I go, I didn't even feel it happen.
You know, they give guys new dicks now. Guys who've had have their dicks blown off or something's happened to their dick. They've got an infection. Lost their dick.
If I could get a
They do
new
dick
dick,
transplants.
I would make it something freak showish, like with a 2-headed penis with a little baby head coming off, so I could just sell pictures.
You have to get a transplant. Like, you'd have to find a 2-headed dick to get a 2-headed dick. Like,
I'd take a
that's
Seroquel,
rare.
I'd sleep through the whole thing and have lucid dreams about it.
Okay.
I have an answer for everything after
think
a
you
certain
do.
amount of cocktails.
I get it. But they
My-
can't give guys dicks now, which is crazy. You know what they can't do? They can't give you balls because it's unethical.
Oh, my
Because if a guy died, you can't have his testicles because his testicles will be shooting out his sperm, even if it's yours, even if it's in your body. So you'd be making his babies, which is wild, right? Like, so if someone got a hold of your balls, if you died and you donated your balls to science, and some guy needed a new pair of balls, if he got your balls, he would be shooting your loads for the rest of his life. So he'd be making Doug Stanhope babies. And they'd be like, but Doug Stanhope is dead. Dun, dun, dun. Meanwhile, your zombie nuts be activated in this guy's body. Just like if you cut a guy's hand off and then reattach it to another person, he gets the fingerprints of that dead guy. You get the loads of the dead guy.
It's actually happened 3 times. But
Really?
they were in cases of twins.
Really?
All cases were twins. Yeah, the first 2 cases, I guess one of the brothers didn't have testicles. So
Wow.
and then another one, it looks like one might have died.
Well, there's that documentary about the guy that was a fertility doctor, but he used his own sperm, so he's got.
Yeah, he impregnated like 100 people.
Factoid for you. One of these books I read was the most children recorded by a single father.
Was it that guy?
No. This some fucking pharaoh of fucking Turkey before it was called Turkey or something.
Oh, wow. What about Genghis Khan?
I don't know who it was, but look it up. I think it's 880 children. Most children. And he was...
That is crazy.
But that was in the Darwin book about why chicks fuck older guys. Like, if I ignored all the big words, just like that story he just put up.
Here it
like,
is.
if you ignore all the big words, if they talk dumb to you, you...
Look what he said. Monarch of Morocco had a harem of 500 women and registered 522 boys and 342 girls. In total, an observation was made that 1,042 children, and then eventually after his death, the total rose to 1,171. Wow. And again to 1,248. 1,248 when they... I don't know how they figured that out.
Maybe they did some DNA testing or something.
And what year is this? That's crazy. That's a lot of people. That guy liked to fuck. Am I right, people? Am I right? But Genghis Khan, his DNA is in some insane amount of people in the area where he lived. I think
That's why they call them Mongoloids. I'm canceled.
There he is. 1672 to 1721. Wow, look at that guy out there partying. Wow. 1672, just fucking up a storm, not paying attention to any of your kids. You got hundreds of them, 1,000, 1,200 kids. What? You're not paying attention to those kids.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Well, they're homeschooled.
What a fucking animal. Guy's just shooting loads all over the kingdom.
Well, if every load that you ever blew
Became a baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the ones he jerked off. Like, he probably never jerks off.
No,
Why would he jerk off?
Because
could
he has
fuck
a
everyone.
fucking harem.
He has 500 wives. Why would he jerk off? You just satisfy 500 wives is so preposterous. Those poor girls.
I would propose the argument of you don't have to fucking talk to them or buy them breakfast.
There's 500 of them though. They're
Like,
gonna
sometimes you rather
go. When is
just
it my
jerk
turn?
off.
And you're gonna be like a year and a half. And they're like, no fucking way.
I think I became an adult when I'd go, I should just jerk off rather than fuck this girl who thinks I like her, because I know I won't like her. I quote you all the time, the post-cum syndrome.
Yes.
Where you go, oh, I really did think I liked you until I came.
Yeah, I used to do a bit about it. Jerk off first, then think about it. That was my best advice to people. Jerk off first, then think about it. Because that is a weird fucking thing with men. Like, you really think, especially when you're young, like when I was in my early 20s, you think differently. Like, you think, like, oh, maybe she could be my wife. And then you nut, and you're like, I got to get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
And it's a fucking horrible feeling.
But it's true. It's like it's real thinking. It's not like you're... Like, women, a lot of times, I think they're... For sure, some guys are deceptive, and most guys are can be deceptive if they're trying to get laid. But there's also... You're being deceptive to yourself. Like, your dick is lying to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wish you could have some kind of way to put that perspective in, like, listen to what my brain was telling me.
Yeah.
Put my brain in your head for a second. You'll understand. Now I feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And it's not even a power dynamic. It's a bullshit dynamic, maybe. Where, but I really felt that way until I came. And that is, one thing I gleaned off of
Yeah, you're supposed
Darwinian
to keep...
psychology theory.
Yeah, you're supposed to keep the same mindset before you come as after you come, which is ridiculous. Like, you're supposed to look at things the same way after you come as before you come. No, the
But
evolution
it's not
is
ridiculous
tricky.
to people who don't understand that, meaning women.
Because they always think the same way. That's not true
But
either.
that's
though.
not true
After
at
they
all
come,
either.
They must have a enormous relief.
If you could,
if you could
this is
have,
my
like-
problem with reading a smart fuck book for 16 and a half hours, listening to it. Now I think I know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I don't.
Yeah, but you're just
But it
talking.
makes sense.
Yeah, we don't have to know what you're talking about. You're just talking. Can't
I
worry
know.
about
I was trying to dumb myself down with alcohol. When we were talking earlier about when you start believing your own bullshit.
Yeah.
My sense of humor is Brendan Walsh. It's not the
Hilarious.
yelling guy on stage
Yeah.
that I am. That's who I became on stage. What I laugh at is Brendan Walsh in a fucking neck brace doing prank phone calls. That's what I grew up being. Then I heard Dice Clay. Then I started doing stage. I fucking love Brendan Walsh being ridiculous and silly and fart sounds.
It's one of the best follows on Twitter. Didn't they ban his account?
Yeah.
What was it for?
Because he pull it up. Brendan Walsh, I think it's still his pinned tweet. They abolished his verified account because he
A parody, because he was.
pretending to be Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, that's what it was.
And it was as benign as the Australian artist that
Yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen
No, I
has
remember.
a problem with.
I remember reading it and
But
being annoyed.
he was crestfallen. I love when I get drunk and I find a big word like crestfallen. He was fucked up over being, canceled by Twitter over some silly shit. Brendan Walsh is one of the funniest Twitter people. He's now at Brendan Walsh. And then spelled out at Brendan Walsh.
A.T. Brendan Walsh, yeah. So what was it? Me and Eric are putting on a pot of coffee, and we're going to put on a pot of coffee. I'm going to figure this out. Tonight, we're in the White House. Sleepy Joe's in a cheap motel where he belongs. And it's a Donald Trump Jr. fake tweet.
Well, here's the thing.
because he
When
has
you have
the-
the verified symbol, you can put anything underneath it, which
Right.
I used to, like if I was fighting with an airline, I could
Right.
change who I am to
Delta eat
Condé
shit.
Nast travel
Yeah.
writer. Oh, fuck. He's got 300,000 followers and he's a travel writer. But he actually pretended to be Donald Trump Jr. because he was verified.
Yeah, but it said Brendan Walsh.
I know.
It's so dumb. It's
But
funny. That's funny. It's so stupid.
There's
come
there's so many people that have to fucking speak up in whatever the culture is. There's a million different cultures that have all been boiled down into left wing or right wing. But when you fucking talk to people off the record that are in whatever groups, they go, this is so fucked up. I live in Hollywood. I'm a writer. I'm a whatever. And they don't speak for me, but I can't. Like, fucking white males can't save you now. Like, yeah, you have to speak up and go, hey, that fucking person doesn't speak for me, but they're all worried.
Well, they're worried about losing their jobs.
Exactly.
But we're just losing our sense of humor. It's just the idea that they would just pull that down and pretend that that's like he's being an imposter. Like, no, he's being funny. Like, you got to have room for parody, folks. This is the internet. You're gonna ruin Twitter. It's already ruined. You're gonna ruin it even further and further. You have to have room for fun.
No. What we do is they shut down a loophole. We open up a new one. That's how the fucking cycle goes. Okay,
What do you mean?
Can't do that. Well, you can't do that on Twitter anymore. Then you go, and you don't go Parler. Like,
That's the problem with any one of those things, right? Whenever they have a new one of those things, it always becomes like a right-wing haven. Because by getting people, it's really kind of brilliant in a way, because by getting people to have this, like, since there's this heavy left-wing bias on Twitter, when people abandon Twitter or they get kicked off of Twitter, they're almost always right-wing. And when they go to these places that say, we don't have any censorship, well, what's the big censorship? on Twitter. The big censorship is in saying offensive things, saying things that have been deemed culturally inappropriate. So that's, of course, especially if you're like some fucking 16-year-old kid, you don't care about the future of this app. You don't give a fuck. You want to say all the shit you can't say on Twitter, but you can say at blah blah blah, whatever the new app is. So they go over there and they ruin it. And so like you have the main town square, which is Twitter, and every new one that pops up sort of miserably fails because they become so right-wing. Like, it's all the people that are using it are right-wing people. And this is only a few of them that I've looked into, but a couple of them, I mean, maybe there's some new ones I'm not aware of. Jamie, are there any new ones, new social media apps that are on the up and up, or on the rise? But isn't it the same thing? Am I correct that they become, like, super right-wing?
I don't know.
Wasn't that the thing with Parler that they were saying that that's how a lot of those QAnon guys were communicating?
Probably why it made the news.
I'm straining to find a better example that's not social media, but whatever a law passes, you can't do this anymore. Okay, but you can't smoke in bars anymore, but we could have outdoor smoking. Okay, and then they go, no outdoor smoking. So then you have a cigar bar can have...
They're not applicable. See, here's the problem. There's never been a thing like social media that's had that much influence on so many people, and then a few people with a very, like, a rigid ideology in terms of what they'll allow, what they don't allow, and those people are controlling this massive amount of discourse. That's never happened before. It's way different than a law or anything else that creates a loophole.
We always, as human beings, find a way to usurp a law,
yes,
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whether if it's Twitter law, government law, you find a loophole, then they find a way to shut it down, then you open up another. Throughout history, you find a way to fuck the system.
Problem is, it could take decades.
Fucks you.
It could take decades to get out of this Twitter power. Look, you could say the same thing about, like, why is the Chinese government have control of all their 1 billion people? Well, eventually they won't. Okay, well, how long is that going to take?
And then
100 years?
Then they'll elect a new government that fucks them.
But this is the problem with this thing that Twitter is, because we look at, and it's not all a problem, but we look at social media apps like a thing that you use. It's just a thing you use. You don't have to use it. It's a private company. They can do whatever they want. But it's way bigger than that. It's something that can influence billions of people. It's a way of distributing ideas that's never existed before. And if it gets controlled in terms of, like, there's people like that, they're kicking off Brendan Walsh for pretending that he's Donald Trump. I mean, come on.
Junior.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to have parody. You got to have fun. You can't have it so locked down and rigid. It's just you're going to ruin
we have to understand
human
that we're
communication.
Fucking old, and the kids will figure out a way to fuck the system.
Maybe.
And then the system will fuck them back. The system always fucks the people, and the people find a way to find a loophole. And
Maybe, but this is a different thing. This we've never experienced this kind of a thing before. This thing is so much more powerful than any other new thing that's ever existed.
Yeah.
In terms of the ability to get out ideas and how much it can change culture. You know, maybe kids will figure out a way around it, or maybe it'll warp people to the point where they're willing to accept some sort of totalitarian regime as long as they think it's
Which
like
they've
ethical
always
and moral.
done.
Yeah, as long as they think it's like the ethical and moral thing to do, like it's a great ethical, moral, totalitarian regime, and then they'll hop on board, and then you're going to be cool with 2020s McCarthyism. It's like it's going to be very similar.
And then
people turning people in.
2030s will go, fuck this, and they'll figure out another way to fuck them, and then the system will fuck them again. And
Maybe they'll stay control just like the Chinese government. Like, this is the thing. It's like once something has control, like, people are really terrified about Facebook. They're really terrified about Twitter. And they're terrified about YouTube. The amount of control that these companies have. They're not egregiously abusing it like they possibly could. Like, if one of them, like, really went heavy off the rails, there's a lot of power that these people have and so much money. That's why have you watched that Social Dilemma, that documentary?
Twice, and it fucking terrified
Scares
me.
the shit out of you.
And then the Bill Hicks bit. I look out my window.
Right.
Cricket.
Where's all this shit happening? I remember that.
Do you want to know my neighbors' names? I'll start with Morgan Murphy rents at the end.
I'm sure you know your neighbors. I get what you're saying.
The point is,
you're close to your
I know
real
their
world.
fucking pets' names. They're welcome at my house.
That's great, but it's still, you're not going to get away from the impact
So
of this
if I
stuff.
tell people, listen, if you just stop procreating to a point where you actually know the people that you're talking to, and humanity isn't just this vast load of nameless people, well, they're not going to do that. They're going to keep fucking. They're going to keep making more people, and fuck every social dilemma argument that me and Chad Shank have while we're drinking always ends up with overpopulation, too many people.
That's definitely part of the problem, but it's not just the problem. Like, even if you have less people, they're still communicating the same way, and they're still branching off into these echo chambers, and we're more divided than we've ever been before. Like, no matter, and here's the problem with that whole population article, argument. I like people. Like, if you stop fucking and then there's no people, then we go away, and then there's no more people. Like, I like them. I like having them around. I think the only way you have them is if you make more of them.
But I think the only way you appreciate them if they're in.
You have less of them. Yeah. That's the problem with LA in New York, right? There's you don't feel connected to a billion people. There's too many of them. There's a burden.
A fucking million-year-old bit of mine. It's like you love a kitten, but if you came home and there was 8,000 kittens in your fucking one-bedroom apartment, you'd put on golf shoes and stomp them to death.
Yeah.
Because scarcity is...
Yeah, the numbers that we live in, whether it's LA, I mean, that's one of the things that I noticed immediately upon moving to Austin. It's like it's more relaxed here. There's less humans. Like, it's not good to be in that kind of fucking high RPM buzzing of LA.
I love your love of Austin, but I almost moved here from Bisbee when I first moved to Bisbee, and I had a fucking issue there, and I go, fuck it, I'll move to Austin. I'm like, Austin, the traffic here, which is my number one consideration, along with weather of where to live. Like, the traffic here is so fucking awful.
No, it's not. It's
It
nothing.
is.
It's a joke. It takes you an extra 10 minutes to get places.
It took me 15 minutes in a Walmart parking lot to get out of it when I took a wrong right turn to try to get some food yesterday.
Maybe
Oh,
that's
just go
you.
up Ben Adams and you fucking...
Jamie, you back me up on this. This traffic is bullshit, right? It's a joke.
It's not that, but the roads are. You mentioned that the other day.
The roads are terrible.
Stupid.
They're terrible.
Fucking made a bad
Yeah,
idea.
whoever the civil engineer is that started the city, they did it for horses.
Oh, wait, you're on my side.
Well, in terms of the way it's engineered, it's terrible.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, but the amount of traffic is a joke. It's not a crisp,
The amount of
clean
traffic
grid
is the
that's
amount
easy to
of
follow.
fucking people trying to leave a Walmart taking a right turn on Ben Adams on a fucking one-way frontage road.
I get it. You're used to Bisbee.
Yeah,
Bisbee
I know.
is
I told
way
you.
sleepier.
It's my first forage out of my bed in a year. I knew I was gonna
But that's good. Stay there
overtalk
then.
this.
You got a good spot as long as you don't like talk it up too much.
No, it's a terrible place. It's a horrible place.
That's it. That's what you got to say about everything. We're gonna start saying that about Austin too. Don't come here.
Well,
But of course, like people are gonna come. It's better. It's better than LA. That I don't understand the LA thing anymore. Especially now for comics, it doesn't make any sense to me because it used to be that you wanted to be connected to television and you want to be connected to the movie industry, but comics today are more connected to podcasts than ever before, which means you could be anywhere. You could be in fucking Arizona. It doesn't matter.
Zoom.
Nashville. Yeah. Zoom
Another
podcasts are
benefit
terrible.
of COVID. Thank you, 500,000 fucking mostly elderly people that died so I could figure out Zoom. And I'll tweet, hey, if you want to talk, send me a Zoom link and I'll fucking talk to you. And then I'm talking to someone from wherever.
Just some strange person.
Yeah.
Fun.
I brought my goddamn reading glasses because I'm so used to Zoom. I have to. Yeah,
I don't like doing podcasts over Zoom, though. They just feel so flat. I mean, they're better than no podcasts at all if you want to talk to someone from the UK or something like that, but it feels flat. It's like the interaction you have is so it's limited, It's not as good. This kind of shit's better.
Oh, it's obviously better, but where I live.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting actual, I fucking drunk dial fucking Mike from Nickelback.
Mike from Nickelback? Who's that, the lead guy?
Now he's the brother, I guess. I don't know. But like over there, a year, like, yeah, I have reached out. I've fucking rejection proofed myself. Fucking Dr. Hook, Dennis, the lead singer of Dr. Hook, who when we get drunk and we play karaoke in the funhouse, we play Dr. Hook all the time. And he just randomly DM'd me, hey, I'm a big fan. I'm a American rock guy.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I, wait, you think I don't know who you are?
That's funny.
I'm just a big fan. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Dr. Hook is a fan of us? We drunk fucking carol your songs like fucking horrible Christmas carolers. Sylvia's mother said. Anyway,
let's wrap this up.
yeah.
It's 4 o'clock.
Oh,
Getting late.
fuck.
Yeah, time flew. We did, it was like 3 hours, right? Douglas. Where are you going to do this comedian's Bohemian Grove thing?
It's, well.
Can you tell me? Off the air?
Yeah, no, it's
Off the
it's in Arizona. It's 100 miles away from where I live,
What? Okay.
but it's 42 miles from the Tucson airport.
Oh.
So it's easy to get in, easy to get out, and I just need $500,000 of seed money.
Oh, you need a GoFundMe.
Yeah, no, I need you. I need you.
Busy. Very busy out here.
No, I don't
Very
need.
busy
I
here.
just need your money.
Well,
See,
we'll
this
talk.
is no. This is
I don't
Zha
think
Jing.
that's gonna be
This is Zha Jing's fucking rejection
Yeah.
proof. He just
Yeah.
asked, and he
Well-
he said,
Well, then you're rejection proof, so it doesn't bother you.
yeah, I don't really need to do that.
I don't think you need that kind of money to do that.
No,
I like to bring in accountants to go over your paperwork. And
well, that's why I have Raider to
you
do
think
all
they're
the
gonna
paperwork.
move there? The comics are going to move to this spot?
No.
They're just going to visit?
No, I'm just
gonna
gonna,
be like
move
a-
my compound. I'll tell you.
Oh,
I'll
tell
tell
me,
you.
tell me,
I'll tell you.
tell
I'll
me.
tell you the other part
Okay,
of it.
Douglas.
Why I want to get the fuck out of Bisbee.
Oh, there's another part.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
one bad man.
All right.
It's fucked me over.
I love you, Doug Stanhope.
I'm sorry you had to have me on.
Come on more often. It'll be more comfortable. Thanks for the book, too. Sam Talent.
Sam Talent, Running the Light.
I'm going to check it out. I'm gonna
Vodka
read it.
juice box. Oh, Bingo. Sorry, Bingo. Heard you were an anti-masker, so she.
Not.
I know. Well, she sent you a mask.
Oh, what does it
Bingo is her and her musician partner have made a band, Vodka Juice Box,
All right.
and
There you
yeah,
go.
we'll get a picture
It's a good one.
afterwards.
Smells good.
I've only worn it twice.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.